It's showtime. Welcome. We're a couple of minutes late. I had a couple of things to address on the hardware here. I've been recording all day, so it's been a little busy. Good to see you. Live chat 121 here on Brooks's Bass Corner. Hope you're doing well. Coming to you live from London town here in the UK. Good to see you. I've just been wittering for about 5 minutes, trying to get levels and sound and everything else on this audio interface. Like I said, I've been recording this afternoon and recording videos for the lovely John Beadle. And I've been fiddling around with levels and EQs and 48 volts and phantom power and all sorts of things. It's been a right old laugh. Anyway, good to see you. Welcome. If you've got any questions about bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, bass accessories, great bass players, bass albums, feel free to ask away. It's what we're here for. We're in the vertical live stream format as opposed to the horizontal format. It's a bit of an experiment for a couple of weeks. We'll see how it goes. When we get to the end of July, I'll have a look at the analytics and see if the vertical live stream has worked a little better than the horizontal live stream. But we will see how we go. So, as I say, if you've got any question about bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, put them in the comment section at the bottom of the live chat window, and we'll do our best to help you. If I don't know the answer, I'll open it up to the floor and let these fine people get involved. So, what have I got to tell you? Right, a bit of housekeeping first. So this is the video window. If you're on the mobile app, the live chat window is directly below. If you're on the desktop, it's that way. So you'll see all the messages, comments appearing there. At the bottom of there, you'll see a little text window. It says chat, comments. Says post a comment for me because I'm here on StreamYard. Put your insertion point or cursor in there, type your question or comment, press send. It'll appear here on my live chat feed. Next to that, you'll see an emoji icon. Feel free to give the emoji icon an absolute pummeling if you wish. It helps to project the live chat, the videos, the channel within the algorithm. So please give the emoji icon an absolute pasting. And next to that, you can see a rectangle with a dollar symbol in. That's called Super Chat. Allows you to make a financial contribution to the channel. Everything that you see here on the channel, microphones, stands, leads, lights, basses, amps, effects, headphones, cameras, cables, editing software, the whole caboodle. I pay for it all. It comes out of my pocket. So if you want to help the channel, help me, help to keep the videos being produced, you can hit that Super Chat button and make a contribution to the channel if you so wish. You don't have to. The videos are free. The channel's free to watch. I haven't got any membership schemes running, so everything you have access to. But if you find something or a video that's useful, gives you some information you didn't know, if you want to say thank you, hit that Super Chat button. So this is the video window. Directly below, you got a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Feel free to give the thumbs up. It's the most important thing you can do for me, the channel, the video. Not so bothered about you hitting the subscribe button. You can if you wish. You'll get notifications every time I post up a video or post up a comment on the community tab. But, lost my thread. Good, so I'm going 100 miles an hour here. So if you can hit the thumbs up, that'd be fabulous. If you don't and you want to give the video a thumbs down, then please leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you didn't enjoy. I can't make the videos better if I don't know. That's the way it works. Next to that, you're going to find the share arrow, which allows you to share the video out to social media, email, and websites. There's a save icon, so you can save videos to watch at a later date. You're then going to find a dollar symbol in a love heart. That's called Super Thanks. It works exactly the same way as Super Chat. Super Chat basically exists on the live chats. Super Thanks exists on every single video here on the YouTube channel, whether they're shorts, long form, everything. Those Super Thanks facilities are there. So again, if you see something that you enjoy or get some information and you think, oh, I didn't know that, that's really good, thank you. Feel free to make a donation to the channel using the Super Thanks option. So in the description box underneath the icons, you're going to find affiliate links for Brooks's Bass Corner merch. You're going to find affiliate links for the Bass Centre here in the UK, vidIQ, Top Cashback, and StreamYard. You'll then find bass purchase related affiliate links for Amazon worldwide, Thomann and Andertons, and then you will find social media links there as well. I've sent an invite out to the lovely Lee Sklar. Thank you very much, Lee, for attending last week's live chat. It not only did it project the live chat in the YouTube rankings, it basically gave me material for the shorts feed for a whole week. So thank you very much for that. I have emailed him. I've sent him an invite. He may appear. He may not. He's a busy chap, but you never know. We keep our fingers crossed. He may appear at some point. He may just appear via the text window. We'll see. We will see. So what's been happening? Oh my goodness. So Saturday we had Uncle Funk show in sort of Herefordshire, England going into Wales. We were playing at Richard Hammond's castle for his ex-wife, as it was her birthday. And we had a great gig. Thank you to anyone that was there. We had an absolute blast. I think we're going back maybe for New Year's Eve. We'll have to see. But we had a really good time. So if you were there, thank you. Audience was fabulous. This week, it's full on. There's going to be gig vlogs for this week. So I've got Queen Tribute in Cambridgeshire Friday. I've got Uncle Funk playing at the Venue 16 Festival near Ipswich on Saturday. And then we're doing Buzzstock in Leighton Buzzard with Uncle Funk on Sunday. So three shows this weekend. It's busy. But that's the way we like it. Hey, so I can see a load of messages. Let's see who we got here. Stacey Ann from North Carolina. Good to see you. The lovely Jamie Millard there. I can see you hovering around the bottom of the screen. That's cool. Stacey and Jamie saying hi. Vissol, good to see you too. All those, yeah. I can see that. King Charles, bonjour. It's not the King Charles, of course, but that's good. Yeah, I can see all of this. Wow, very good. Okay. Lovely stuff. Yeah, so tonight's live chat is basically, I want people to give me your stories. How did you become a bass player? What led you down that path? What got those creative fires ignited, I guess? So, did you try other instruments? Sort of ended up on bass because no one else wanted to do it, or you found yourself with a bunch of friends creating a band and again no one else wanted to do it and you got lumbered with the bass chair? Or was it seeing a famous bass player or hearing a bass player on record and you just thought, that sounds like my thing, that's what I want to do? I want to know your stories. I've waxed lyrical many a time about how I ended up being a bass player, but I want to hear from you guys. Leave messages in the chat window. If you want to come on here live, you can. There's an email running on the ticker at the top of the screen. Email me at brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. Once I get an email, I'll send you an invite. You then click on the invite and you can come to screen by video, of course. Or if you don't want to be on screen but you want to talk by audio, then all you do is turn your visual part of your camera off when you click on the invite and we can hear your voice just without the visuals. So that's possible. Or like I say, you can type in the text window and let us know. So I'm looking forward to seeing how everyone became bass players. So all good. Let me just check everything's working. Check the stream. Health is good. Let's have a look here. That's all fine. Yeah, that's working too. Yep, that's all going. That's grand. Give me a moment. Just need to check those analytics, and then we know everything is firing along. Yes, good. Stream health. Excellent. There we are. That's what I like to see. Very good. Right, let's bring Jamie Millard to screen. How are we doing? Here he is. There he is. So we go with that. I just want to see how this all looks. There we go. That's the fella. Oh, I can see Richard Fitton Perkins just flying in. Here we go. Getting three of us. Yeah. How are
the king and his subjects. The king and his loyal subjects underneath on the screen.
There we go. Well, I found that trying to edit shorts in the other screen formats just didn't work. It was an editing nightmare. So I'm hoping this will work a little better. So it's trying to maintain the vertical aspect. When we were running 3, it looked a little odd when I came to edit the shorts up. So we'll try this. for this instead. So how's tricks?
Ooh, tricks are for kids.
I think Richard's about to disappear. He carries on like that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. You all right? You got the collapsing chair?
Hmm?
Have you got the collapsing chair?
No, I've got the MacBook balanced on an overturned music stand, you see. So.
Okie dokes. Okie dokes. I'm going to just try and turn you up a little bit. Keep talking to me, Rich.
Okay.
That's better. Lovely.
Testing,
gotcha.
1, 2, 1, 2.
That's it. Very good. Yes. So how's your week been?
Well, it was okay. Yeah, just busying around doing bits and pieces.
Okay.
Trading gear and organising gigs.
Okay. So. And when are you next back out?
I'm back out with the live tribute show this Saturday at the Elveston Hall Warners up near Crewe.
Yep.
And then I've got a couple of duo jobs this month. Another Everly's and Friends live show at the bottom of the country in Torquay. So
racking up the miles.
As always, yeah. Poor car.
Very good. And you, Mr. Millard?
Well, actually, today I've been requested for 2 separate artists to do recordings.
Nice.
So I've got, one of them has got 2 songs to go, and I'll get them along the way, I'm sure. And then the other one just kind of popped in and said, okay, you're part of this. There's 5 songs. Tell me what you need, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if he's written them or not yet, or if they're just going to be in process, but we have all the fixings for Studio Nightmares, so perfect.
Happy days.
Indeed.
Happy days.
Cool.
Good. Very
Very
good.
nice.
Very good. Well, I've been recording for John Beadle today some more videos for his Songs from the Shed project here on YouTube. And must apologise to John. He sent me the tracks a while back and I've just been so busy. I haven't been able to do them until today. I finally got like a clear day to get a good run at them. So we got Waterloo Sunset by the Kinks put to bed. So that's very nice. Using a Fender with flat wounds. Precision with flat wounds on.
Nice.
Very good. Straight into an Aguilar tone hammer pedal into the audio interface. Bang. There we go. And then the next one is Heartbreaker by Pat Benatar. Which has got some interesting timing.
Yes, it does.
Pushes. Yes. And a lovely crazy 80s new wave fill in the middle, which caught me a little unawares at the time. I had to slow it all down and piece it all back together. But we got there. So I'll be finishing off that recording on Thursday. I can't do it tomorrow because I take my mum to hospital. But I'll get that one done Thursday morning. Video Thursday afternoon. Slate's clear. Fabulous. So, John, you're watching from south of France. I know you're over there. You've got Waterloo Sunset in your email. Heartbreaker will be with you on Thursday. All right. There we go. There we go. That's it. Now, I've got some news for you, Mr. Fitton Perkins. So, I contacted Viv Wilcock about
that would be you
about short scale basses.
All right. Yeah.
And he's declined the invite.
He's
declined the invite. He doesn't feel that talking live on camera is his sort of thing.
Okay.
So I said, well, look, you can come on and talk by text if you want, or you can just talk by audio, not on the camera. So that invite is still there. If he decides to change his mind, great. But I suspect he doesn't really want to do the live chats. He's just happy building basses. So there we go.
He could also put Kiss makeup on and a wig.
Well, of course, anyone's free to do that. I expect Dawson to do that.
That's right.
So, at some point. But yes, so that was a shame. Viv, if you're out there, if you're watching, tuning in, see what we do. It's a very friendly community. It's very easy. But like I said in my message to you, if you just want to sit on here and do text and reply to questions that way, then great. That's it's just talking about short scale basses. But we can do that between us, I think, Richard, another time.
That's okay.
So tonight's subject really is hearing people's stories. How did they become bass players? So who wants to take that one up first?
So Richard can do that one.
Okay.
Have a go. Have a go, man. Have a go.
I started off as a cellist at the age of 7. So I've been playing the cello for about 48 years.
Lovely.
Getting old.
Nay, old.
Very old, trust me.
No.
And was that a thing that you were just at school and they were offering music lessons, or was it something your family pushed you into?
Yes, the area teachers came in to my primary school and they all played, and I thought, I want to play one of them. So then sort of graduated onto, of course, double bass, piano, and of course, after the age of probably sort of 13, 14, started to get into, bands and things, and started playing quo bass lines on an upright. I thought there's actually got to be a better solution somewhere. Yes. So I got my first.
He was a big girl. I met at a gig girl. Mean girl. Mean girl.
Copyright strike.
Cha-ching.
No, they won't get that by my singing. No chance.
Yes.
I'm about as un-Francis Rossi as you could imagine.
Absolutely, yes. So, generally speaking, I got my first electric bass when I was about 16, 17, which was one of those pointy-headed Columbus ones from Korea, which was a sort of copy of a Chauvel,
yes.
Yeah, and then while I was at college, I graduated onto a Hohner Jack because I really wanted a Status S2. And then when I was about 20 actually, when I was 20, I happened to find a used 1988 S2, which I took out a 3-year loan on to buy. And I played almost exclusively for 16 years or more. So, yeah.
I'm pleased to hear it based on paying for it for 3 years. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Very good.
That is where it's all actually
Mr. Millard
began.
Oh, yes. So I didn't have a status in mind for 3 years, but so actually I went to middle school and they wanted to put people in band. So, because I'd go to class and they'd have a little choral or chorale class where you'd have a singing and you'd do this kind of thing. But there was nothing with instruments until I got to about 8 years old. And I walked into the room, and then naturally, what's the first thing I'm going to pick up? Drumsticks. Right?
Of course.
Because everybody wants to do this all the time.
Of course.
So my mom we're not having any of that. So out came all the mouthpieces. Flute, no. Trumpet, no. So they settled on, you've got the right fit and fixture for a saxophone. So at 8 years old, I started playing alto sax in the school band. Did that up through in towards, school system wise. Here it would be 8th grade, 8th year. They said, you're a big guy. We need a bari sax guy. You're it. So they handed me the bari sax. And I took on that for a while. And of course, musical pinings at the time was whatever was on radio. But also, I was diving into Zoot Sims. I was diving into Jerry Mulligan on bari sax. And then I found Tower of Power in Chicago. And James Brown after that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you know, come along with everybody who's blowing the deep horn, the big horn. And along the way, I discovered this lovely piece of furniture in my parents' living room called the 1942K upright, which I still have. It's presently in storage, and I'll bust it out here one day, and we'll have one of these moments here. But for now, let's not worry about that. Trust me. So, and needless to say, I started just kind of monkeying around with it and trying to figure things out. Now, the musical landscape at this time changed as well, because so while Richard was doing Quo, I was doing Black Sabbath. So, speaking of this weekend in Brum, so I figured out very quickly that I could be a great geezer, just not doing it like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, or like this. So, I went to the local shop and they had rental instruments. So kind of like what Rich was saying, I came out with a, what was called a Series 10. The brand name was Bentley, and it was a plywood P-bass precision copy.
Mm-hmm.
Which I rented for a little while, and then I went back to the shop and found that they had this nice wall of songbooks. So I found 2 Black Sabbath songbooks. One was the first 4 records complete, I still have it, and the second one was the Technical Ecstasy songbook with nothing but that record on it. Good. So I could read already because I was doing treble clef with the saxophone, because they didn't, when I was in band, they didn't do the bari sax in bass clef. It would translate once in a while, but mostly it was in treble. So I rewired my brain and figured out how to read the bass clef on my own. And I made pencil notations all across the book, you know, to make sure that as you do, because we're not reading tab and we're not watching YouTube videos. We've got the record, the cassette, and later, of course, the CD, to try to figure it out. So I'd sit there for hours and put headphones on, turn the amp up really loud, and figure out all these notes playing geezers bass lines, which translated into a multitude of other things, one of which might give you a good giggle or chuckle anyway. Along the way, while I was doing this, part of my appearance here, besides the pinky stuff, is there's a part of me in the DNA that's Croatian. And so my mom decided to have me jump into their orchestra. So if anybody knows or doesn't know the Croatian instruments, they're called tamburitsins. And they look like little mandolins, and then they get bigger as you get deeper. So Rich, as you were describing a cello, you know, where you're going to sit and you're going to do the cool thing with the cello, they have a version of a cello that looks like a Gibson Jumbo 400 with 4 strings on it, and you play tremolo. You tremolo it with 4 EADG strings, and you're playing frets like you would on a guitar. So I learned to play the chording instruments, and then the guy who was thumping on the bass went off to school, so they said, "You play bass, don't you?" Yes. So out came the K-bass, and, you know, so instead of sitting here doing this, now, if you'll picture this, I'm in outfits from Dalmatia and Macedonia, complete with the hat and the shoes and the whole 9 yards. And if you can picture this, singing in Croatian like this, okay, with hair. So, right? So I did the singing and the dancing and all the fun stuff. And then, of course, I ate all the lamb specialties and,
Excellent.
you know. So, there's food in the mix somewhere, right? So,
absolutely.
That's right. And it's a thing. But anyway, so I ended up playing, they did traditional standards as well as kind of some mixture of songs. So I did that. I'm learning Black Sabbath at home, and then I found Rush. All bets were off, right? In the meantime, this story takes a twist. So we don't have our knickers in a twist. It just takes a twist. Fair enough. So my mother, when I was not even a thought yet, played accordion, and you know, Mama's got a squeeze box, all that stuff, and she had a combo where she grew up. She played accordion. My father plunked along on this bass. She had a tenor sax guy and a drummer. and they had a quartet that played all over the Cleveland, Ohio area back in the late 60s. So she said, we could take this and we could go out and play private parties. So she purchased an accordion that you didn't have to pump, and it had a MIDI setup, drum machines. We bought a PA, the whole 9 yards. And we would go set up for parties and bar mitzvahs and all these things. And we would play private parties. So she'd come out with this high-tech, flashy, all this, and I'd come out with the old, here we go, we're going to play. And then I would switch along to an electric bass in the midst of it. So put all that together, and the saxophone. Oh, well, you know what? I'm stirring the pot as we go and have some brown bread and everything's lovely. Right. So this was as I was going on from 8 years old through 14 or 15, all this at once. And, so the saxophone got retired after high school because what's the thing in your mind? Well, I really like this. I really like this. And all the girls seem to like this versus this. So the saxophone went out the door, and ironically, the last one I had, I swapped for a Rickenbacker.
Right.
Surprise.
As you do.
It was lovely, as you do, right? I said, I'll have that. They said, we'll take that. Done. Handshake, off we go. So my first Rickenbacker, since you were talking about how you acquired basses and all that sort of thing, I had the P-Bass copy, and then I swapped that in for, get this, a Washburn Force 40. Remember those?
I remember them. Yeah.
Right. So this was a cherry sunburst with white binding and the wannabe DiMarzio pickups. Had that for a little while. I was doing a little traveling with the family. I stumbled into a music store and I found a Gibson Grabber for $100. I'll have that. Oof. Zip. That was mine.
Well, you wish you still had that.
I've had quite a few of them actually, but more on that later. So I had that, and then I realized, okay, I need a real precision. So I saved up some money, worked like a dog, and went to a local music shop and found a refinished 1973 Precision with an added jazz pickup for $500. And I'll have that. So that came home. And then from there it proceeded to, and also before I go there, when I was 16 years old, my parents, even though they said, we don't like you playing music, they purchased me a Rickenbacker for my birthday.
Right.
So that was the first Rick. And then there was the Fender and the Grabber. And after that, it became a shuffling of which bass and who's got this and what are we doing, and I'll have that. No, you can have that. Go, 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 go. And there you have it.
Yeah, interesting.
So, questions away, fire away.
Running.
Oh, I was off to the races with PV amps to start with. And because, they're indestructible, you can throw them off trucks. And they
Pretty much.
Right. So we did that. I ran the Rickenbacker in stereo with an old Sun Beta bass and the PV amp, and about killed everybody in the first 5 rows.
Excellent. As you do.
As you do.
Vaporized.
It'd be rude not to, frankly.
Well, the craziest thing was the one Rickenbacker I had that had the mirror scratch plate on it. So if I caught the lights just right, the front row would get beamed. So, every cute girl in the front row got beamed. I want to talk with her. I want to meet that one, all that sort of thing. Because, it's
and
what
that's
you
the trick
do.
he still uses today, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. That's what it is. So there you go. That's the long version of it, but there you have it.
Don't give the game away.
Very good.
Oh, no. No.
So I actually, by the way, didn't only play, of course, Quo. I also started to learn all the lines of,
You mean there's more bands than just Quo?
Yeah.
There's 25 albums of Quo, right?
What I want to know is, did you play the guitar solo from Roll Over, Lay Down on double bass? Because I paid good money to hear that.
No, but I did. I definitely remember at some point in my first or second house being bored one evening, and I figured out June Tune on double bass.
There you go.
I'd have to be really bored to do that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'd quite like to hear you do Roll Over Later, especially with the string bend. Da, 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 da. Yeah.
Okay, so next week, that's your homework, sire. That's your homework.
Okay, not a problem.
Get cracking.
No worries.
Won't take him long. There's not
No,
a lot
no.
of Francis Rossi guitar solo.
Actually, the interesting point is, of course, my entire sort of musical growth from, of course, childhood was actually, of course, classical. So the actual sort of best thing I did was when I was about 19, 20, I actually went out to, of course, jams and thought, I need to use my ears here.
Yes.
Yeah. So that, of course, led me to, of course, bands and things. And then I played a lot of jazz things, which led to jobs at the Dorchester and all around there. And
this is all the stuff when you start that lays the bedrock to what you can do.
Yes,
the rest of you, if you're going to do it full time, you know. It's,
definitely.
And so many kids do this at school, get bored or find other interests during their teenage years, and then come back to this like when they're 40, 50, 60. It's like, why did I give it up? And it's because there's only so much time in life to do all the things you and for those of us that do it full time, you realize how much this dominates what you do, and yet for some people this is just a hobby. And it
takes up time and money galore,
which when you're younger and you're at school and college and what have you, you have the time to soak all this musical knowledge up like a sponge. But once you start getting into adult life, you got to pay the bills, you got to pay the mortgage, you got this, you got that, you got responsibilities. Love of it. And I've said it before on the live chats, very rare that I ever get to just play for enjoyment. Invariably, I'm playing because it's part of the job, part of the work.
That's right.
And there's always something new that you've got, another gig coming up, and you've got to learn this, and you've got to learn that, and it never stops.
Right.
Very true. So, what about your sort of beginnings?
Let's go, sire.
Right.
Shall we go, sire?
I knew
Shall we go?
when I was about 6 that I thought I wanted to be a musician, but I had absolutely no knowledge of what it entailed or how to go about it or how do you even have a career in music. And I just knew I wanted to do that. And then while I was a kid, entertained ideas of being a football player, which every kid does, and everyone wants to be a sportsman and all of that. And then when I saw the Reflex by Duran Duran live video of a gig, it was like, that's what I want to do. Sold. There's nothing else I'm even contemplating. So from that point of being 12, that was it. That was the goal. But again, had no family guidance. No one in my family played. Didn't know how do you get in a band? How do you learn to play an instrument? I don't know. Assumed that you probably had to do something with music at school, but it didn't matter which school I was at, because I moved around quite a few schools because I lived in a lot of different places. The theory side of it bored the nuts off me, and you'd get a trendy music teacher and they come in and say, right, well, this is the music of the Beatles, which great as it is, but as a 12-year-old you go, I don't listen to the Beatles. What am I going to do with that? Then they give you all the stuff about the composers and all that, and it's just, no, I want to be doing what I'm seeing on the telly. That's how do I play an instrument? And just as I was starting to make some headway at a school I was in Scotland, where the teacher there played bass, played drums, played guitar, and I thought, I need to tap into this guy because he could set me on the course that I think I need to take. We then upped sticks and went back to London, and I ended up at a school in southwest London, an all-boys school, and music there was a complete afterthought. As a third year, again, it was back to these are the composers of the 1600s, and it was like this. And everyone, you got the guy at the back picking his nose and the other one doing the old metal ruler dun, 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 on the desk. And it was like, this is going nowhere. And then as I went in a fourth year, we were the year that did GCSEs that replaced O levels. And on the year that I went in a fourth year, picking my subject options, thinking I've really got to start doing music wasn't on offer because they had no teacher to teach it. And I thought, well, how am I meant to do what I want to do as a career? And I can't even do that as a course. Where is this going? And it annoyed me even more because when I then went into fifth year, the year for taking the exams, they offered it to the year below us. Suddenly they had a music teacher and it was like, oh, for God's sake. So anyway, I thought I wanted to be a singer, and then nature took its course and the old dropped and the old voice went, yeah, and I thought, no, saying you don't want to be a singer. And I did a house music competition where we had 4 houses at school, so Gibbs, Newsom's, Halliwell's, Milton's, I think it was. And I got involved in that and ended up doing some singing on it, which wasn't the greatest thing. And then I sat down to watch the Gibbs house do their music, and my friend Gary Banton was the bass player. And he would have been, so I would have been 4th year, he would have been the first year of 6th form. And I remember sitting there with my dad, and my dad going, he's pretty good, him. And I went, that's what I want to do. That's it. And I didn't know how to be a bass player or anything. I thought, that's what I want to do. And then I thought about becoming a drummer for a while, but at 14, how are you going to drive a kit around? You can't even get a license. That'd be stupid. Yeah, and a friend of mine, Jamie Fisher, who I still work with now and again, he was 14, 15. He was already flying as a drummer. Amazing. And I just looked at it and thought, well, if that's the standard he's at now, I can't catch up that quick. How do you get to... You've got to be in that position to be a drummer at 14 and 15 and want to do it and be taking lessons, and you need people pushing you in that direction. It's not something as a 14-year-old you're going to spend your money on a new splash cymbal or new snare drum. And then as I'm in my final year leading up to my exams, my English teacher put a message up on the music room notice board that said, does anyone want bass lessons? And I went, yes, me. And I was the only person that applied for it. And it was on Thursday lunchtimes. So after lunch, get in the music room for 45 minutes of bass lessons. And I did the first one, picked the bass up and was like, this is it. I found what I want to do for the rest of my life. Taught me how to play Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. Mm-hmm. Went to my afternoon lesson. Brain was gone. You could have been teaching me quantum physics. I wasn't listening. I was just like, I found what I want to do. Went home, walked through the front door. My mum said, what's going on? You got some weird look on your face. I said, I just found what I want to do for the rest of my life. You carry on doing what you're doing. I'm going off to work out. I'm going to buy a bass guitar. And that was it. So I had 3 lessons with him, and he taught me the strings, rudiments of 12 bars, rock and roll, blues stuff. And after the 3rd lesson, he said, I don't need to teach you this. You've got all the enthusiasm and energy to do this yourself. You don't need me. And I said, well, can I borrow the school bass at weekends? He went, no one else wants it, so off you go. So every Friday, finish my lessons, get the bass, go home, play at weekends. I had the Queen Complete Works box set. I had the Queen Illustrated Lyrics, which is here. Still got the same book, which was every track from all the albums, all the lyrics, which I think are in the back. You can't see it. But anyway, and every song. And above it's got the chord symbols. And with another book, which was a picture of a guitar neck showing you where all the notes are on the neck. I had that on one bit of my desk, and I had that Queen book, and I had the records, and I copied the records on a cassette so I could wind them backwards and forwards without scratching the records. And I taught myself the Queen back catalogue, and that was it. I was up and running. Did my first gig at school. Playing with friends, my friends who were learning. December 87, and that was it. And we were out gigging. Me and Jamie joined a slightly religious youth band in Wimbledon for a while. We weren't there for the religion. We were there to play a bit. And that was it. And we were out doing gigs with that immediately. They would go off on a Saturday and we'd go and do gigs in Kent and Suffolk and Norfolk and down to the South. And we did that. And then I moved from London down the South Coast where my folks are now. Went to college there, but knew I was coming back up to London. Did my degree in computers for 4 years and then graduated in 95. And here we are, 30 years later. That's my tale. Sad but true.
Okay.
Nice.
Sad but true.
I thought you were going to say he taught you 3 lessons. It gave you the foundation, and you went out and played a gig the next night in the pub.
I would have been up for it. I didn't know where the notes were, but I'd have been up for it. It was literally, he lit the blue touch paper and I was off, mate. I'd got loads of album, because back then you could buy the sheet music for independent albums as they came out. So I went out and tracked down as much Level 42 Queen and Duran Duran as I could and got them all, because the other thing that this didn't have, although it had all the chord symbols above the music, you can see all of that.
Oh, yes.
It didn't have the bass lines.
That's
Whereas
right.
if you went and bought the sheet music for the albums, had it all there. So all my favourite Queen albums, suddenly I could see what the bass is doing, and sat there and wrote it all out and taught myself how to read bass clef, and off we would go, and that was that. And that was it. Once you're up and running, if the bug's there, you're going to do it. And for me, it was always that. Absolutely. This is what I want to do for a living. Whether I get to do it, I don't know. But I will always applaud my teachers at school and then at college and at university for saying, get your education behind you. Because once you've got that, you can do whatever you like. But if you've got that education and it doesn't pay the bills, you can drop into a job and do this thing as a hobby or do it at weekends or whatever. I've just been lucky, fortunate, and worked very hard that I've managed to turn it into a career. But because that was always my drive, that was my passion. This is what I want to do. But I was firmly of the belief that, having seen other musicians and worked with musicians scraping by, living on beans on toast, I thought, that ain't for me. So this has got to work and it's got to pay off. So, you know, when you have those days when everything feels like the world's against you, you got to knuckle down and get through it and find some more work and meet some more people and open some more doors and network a bit and all of that. I see loads of people joining in here. Datura, good to see you. Bill Derbyshire, good to see you too. If you want to join in, just send me an email. And I need to change that back to that. Anyone wants to join in by video, you can. Email me, brooksyspacecorner@gmail.com. It's running along the ticker at the top of the screen. Email me, I send you an invite. You click on the invite, you come to the screen. Simple as that. More messages there. Lee Tav, good to see you. What year was that, Mike? Which bit? Which bit, Lee? Valeria Devchich, how are you doing? We're good, thank you. Welcome, Brooksy Space Corner here. It's coming up 10 to 9, live chat 121 here on Brooksy Space Corner, coming to you live from London town. Which bit did you want to know, Lee? Which year? Lee Bolton, good to see you too. Hope you're well.
Actually, I have one correction for you.
Yes.
Walk in the house wondering how you're going to afford a bass. You've wandered into the house wondering how you could afford 30 basses.
44, please.
Oh, okay, 44.
He's up the ante a little bit.
Lee Tab, the last year before music was available to choose, that would have been 1986. I had to make my course choices. So we started the GCSEs 86 and we took the exams in 88. We were the first year.
Right, yeah, because my year was a prototype pilot for them because I did mine in 86 to finish.
It was a huge amount of upheaval, as I recall, because all the schools...
I did joint entry in maths, English, and several other things. So I ended up with, for instance, English. I've got English oral, English lit, English language in both and actually CSE as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I remember because I moved from an academy in Scotland, and this place was hyper modern, loads of facilities, loads of equipment. It was an ideal place to be educated. And I did 1 year. My parents decided we were moving back to London, and it was like, oh, great. And I remember turning up at school in Rains Park, and actually looking back, it probably did me some favours. But I remember walking in there, and it was like walking back into the 1800s. That's what it felt like. It was highly oppressive, not lots of equipment, not modern, a lot of testosterone flying around. You got a whole bunch of 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old boys, and everyone wanted to fight each other. And it was like, I remember going home from school that first day and just being in tears. It was like, why have we come back here? Why have we come back? This is what I've got to do. For 3 years, it's nothing. 3 years goes like that now. But at the time, it was just, as a 13-year-old, just thinking, I've come from a really great place. Now I'm stuck here. And it was just horrible. But over time, you learn to survive. And actually, I can remember being 13, 14, 15, 16 and formulating all my ideas how I was going to have a career in music. And you start doing your homework on stuff and realizing you're getting older. That time where you're going to leave education is coming. Little did I know that I was then going to end up doing A levels and a degree as well. So there we are. Alembic boy, good to see you. You were the first year for GCSEs too. I only picked music and bass guitar because I thought the
what?
You've left us hanging there. You left us hanging, man. Got to come back, finish that sentence. Lee Tack, can you repeat the email, please? Yes, sir. It's running along the top of the screen. Brooks's Bass Corner at gmail.com. You'll see us next for the next time. No worries. We're here every Tuesday from 8 o'clock. Phil de Hove, good to see you. Love to see you all. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on Velvet Sundown and the rise of, shall we say, fake music. Jamie, off you go.
Oh, boy.
We did talk about this last week, but it's
have
causing
a word,
quite a stir, isn't it?
Yeah, we had it's kind of the as Rick Beato's thing makes the rounds. Oh, boy. I think it's rubbish because it's not real. And you can't fake emotion in a song. I don't believe. I mean, some people do, of course, but you can tell it's fake. And if you know what you're listening for and you know how everything is leveled off, you will know immediately that it's not legitimate. I personally think it's something. This is just my opinion, so I won't speak for you two gentlemen. Mm-hmm. I think it really takes away from what we do, and I think it takes away from the humanity of being able to write a song and tell a story and give a part of you and be transparent, be vulnerable in a way through writing a song, where somebody just goes, oh, let me see, I want a dark and murky song with a wonderful bass line with a saxophone in the mix. Boom. And it's in 10 seconds, there it is. I rubbish. That's just my opinion. Of course, it is fake. And something about music in an art form that because it is an art form, because it comes from within, this doesn't do that. This just plays on the emotions and thought about the facade of it that's not even real. I trust me, that's one that makes me want to light up the hotter curry yet. So no, pass.
Yeah. My take on it, I think in a way, if the AI thing does become very, very prevalent, I don't think, although I sometimes question the intelligence of the human race, I don't think it will take long for people to suddenly go, this is a load of old toot. We want it the way it was. Mm-hmm. The question is whether the AI side of it becomes so dominant that there isn't a chance for human creative music to air anymore. And I just don't know. I mean, we can sit here and be doom mongers. We can do that. That's the easy thing. But until some time has gone by, we don't know. We just don't know. It's a new dawn, isn't it? Really, it is.
I
mean, I worry. I mean, I've worried for about 10 years thinking, well, where are the young kids going to be able to go out and play, go and do gigs? Because here in London, the whole gig, I say it week after week, the gig scene is shrinking, and worryingly so. And I don't know where people are meant to go and play and learn how to be a musician. It's all well and good. You can go to ICMP and BIM and ACM, and you can do all of that. But that's just teaching you the theory. That's not putting it into practice. And theory is one side of it, but actually getting on a gig and dealing with a blown up power amp, and how are you going to do the gig, and the mixer's not working and the lights aren't working and a speaker has got a problem with its speak-on connection and all those things. And the only way you learn that is on the job, doing the gigs. And you have to have that ability to do those gigs in pubs and clubs and the cheaper end of things before you have to learn how to deal with all that before you start doing weddings and functions and corporates. Because and even just the mechanics of running a band and being in a band and how to get on with people and dealing with clients, you learn all that stuff as you go. But you can't just jump in from having been in an educational setup like an ICMP, BIM, ACM and all of that, and just end up playing with Beyonce. It doesn't happen. No, it doesn't happen. You have to, I hate the term, and I really hate the term, because someone I used to work with used to use it all the time, and I thought, you're just talking crap. But the whole paying your dues bit.
Oh, yes.
Very true.
And it's not a case that you're paying your dues, you're learning how to do it on the job. Mm-hmm. It's like being a bricklayer. You know, you can learn all that theory on a course, but until you get out there and the wind's blowing and the rain's coming down, you've still got to lay a wall. You know, you only learn it by doing it. And it just concerns me that, as I say, here in London, it could be different in other parts of the world, but here in London, we had a very rich tapestry and a circuit of gigs, and we don't have it anymore. We don't. So people can come on here and go, oh, but there are. No. You don't know what they used to be. You've got nothing to gauge it against. Because now I'm at an age where I've been doing this for 30 years. So let's say 28 years ago, which would have taken me up to 97, you now got 28-year-olds on the circuit going, oh, you don't know what was there before. And as I've done before on the live chat, gone through my diary and looked at all those gigs where I rattled off, like a week, we might have had 5 or 6 gigs, and the week after, another 6. You can't do that anymore. You now have to be in loads and loads of bands to be able to do that. I know very few bands that are consistently doing 5 or 6 gigs a week every week of the year. You can do it during the summer, you can kind of do it in December, but it's not the way it used to be. And you would be able to fashion out a reasonable career, a reasonable living with your bread and butter work, your corporates, your weddings, and everything else on top. And now it ain't there, I don't think. Certainly not what it was. So you are now having a look at other avenues and income streams, and the whole AI thing suddenly tips it all on its head. And it's like, well, how do you deal with that?
I can't wait to see that live. I can't wait to AI. I want to see that live.
Yeah.
I mean, because really, how are you going to do it? Unless now, with that said, the reason why I said it that way is because there are people when they come along there. You've got tracks and you've got all these things, and sometimes you can tell when the band is miming. You can just tell. We were having that chat a week or two ago on this. We were speaking about that you knew that somebody wasn't playing it right because you watched the hands and the hands and the notes.
Rod Stewart space.
Yeah. There you go. So
yeah, Bill, I'm going to say Bill's going to join us here. I'm going to just send him an invite. There we go.
So I mean, so if you think about it, people are already kind of doing that, but there's a thing that's happening on this side of the pond that people are presenting their shows. And they're emphasizing the fact that everything is played live. And they'll show you, because you'll hear the mistakes, you'll hear the string noise, you'll hear the in the background. You're not going to have that nice little cut and dried thing that you get with AI or you get with, fake music. And the humanity of it comes through on the live gig. And without the live gig, what do you got?
I'm guessing always, like people that do Vegas residencies, there's a certain, I can see you there, Bill, I'll bring you to screen in a second. I've always thought, because they insist on hyper production, literally the same show, night after night after night after night after night. And I don't think, I've never been to Vegas to see a show or to see 2 nights. I bet the show doesn't change from night to night. I mean, it's just, it's the set list. That's what we're playing. And I would suspect a lot of the time that performance is already recorded in a recording studio before they get there. And as with Rod at Glastonbury, as I said last week, I thought the soloists were live. I didn't think the core bands, the drums, keys, guitar, bass were live. It didn't tally up. And I actually, when did we do that? It was Tuesday, wasn't it? Wednesday, I had a quick look. I thought, you've got to back this up, mate. You better check this. And I went and had a watch of some of Rod's stuff, and I still came out with the same belief that bass player was not playing live. He wasn't. There were too many times where the notes went up and he went down, and his playing hand was so rhythmically out
of time.
There's no way. And I googled that guy, and he's got quite a resume. He's done a lot of stuff. How he was playing like that, and he's a professional bass player, and I'm like, you were barely moving your fingers. Now everyone has different techniques and what have you. I can't ever say I've seen a live bass player play like he played. And I said last week on the live chat, I wouldn't be surprised if I got a message, someone flagged this up to him, and he went, do you know
what? Playing live.
Well, I can tell you. Well, if he came on, I'd say, right, let's get the footage up on screen. Let's just watch, shall we? Because anyone that watches this, whether you watch it in a year's time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, look for Rod Stewart playing at Glastonbury in 2025 and watch the bass player every time he's on camera. His playing hand is not right. It's not playing what the bass line is. And too many times on the various songs, the bass line would go up and he went down. How does that happen? It's not positional, because the notes were going up the register. He was going down the neck. So that's my thing. Bill, I'll bring you to stage, mate. There we are.
So you did Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath this weekend. They played every note live.
There you go.
Brum. They were in Brum and played every note live. It can be done.
Played every note live. Ozzy didn't sing live because, or if he did, the stream feed was auto-tuned, because I saw Danny Sapko's video. Was it Danny Sapko? It might have been someone else actually. And sorry, Danny, it might not have been a video, but basically there's someone playing the feed that was, you paid 25 quid for, and you got the feed of the show. And there were a couple of songs where Ozzy's voice was virtually perfect, and then they played you the camera foot. Someone had filmed it on their camera the same day. His voice was nowhere close.
I was watching the live, not the feed that you paid the 25 for. There was a group of metalheads who were on the stage right, on the ground, and they had their phones up. And that's what I was watching. So when you heard Mama, I'm Coming Home with that raspy, all that was live. There was no auto-tune. There was none of that. And that's my point of reference, just to clarify. Because I didn't purchase the live stream. I watched the dude in his battle vest and his boots on going, doing with his phone. And heard it live when it happened in Brum, not 2 hours later.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was clearly an auto tune for the feed.
Probably. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Not very well, is he? So
Your volume's a little low, Bill. Hold on. I will turn you up. Hold on.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Bill, talk to me.
The other way.
Can I hear you? Talk to me, Bill.
I think he's actually muted himself.
You've muted yourself. Joys of technology.
It's a wondrous thing.
Okay. No, you've gone, mate.
No?
I'm on full up.
There you go. There we go. Hello.
Bill?
Can you hear me? Good evening, everybody.
There we are. Yeah. Speak forth.
Very unwell, isn't he? So, you know, I was very surprised he made it at all, bless him. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
But Geezer Butler, you can't fault that man, can you?
No, he was good. He was good.
Excellent.
Been
And
there,
that
seen
Ashdown.
it, done it, haven't they?
Yeah.
Oh yes, they've done it all, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yep.
But,
Actually,
yes.
can I actually just go sort of back a touch, Mike?
Of course.
Thinking of AI, writing tunes and concerts and whatever, would the AI music be strictly original? Because basically AI isn't thinking, it's basically a very clever web scraper, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. Only
They're
time
fighting
will
it.
tell.
They're fighting it
Only
right
time.
now.
Yeah.
It'd be sort of elements of, sort of thousands of things all sort of joined into a...
That's
group.
now, anyway.
Well,
That's,
yeah.
everything is influenced by something that's been before.
It is, yes. Yes, true.
I guess, it's as I say, for us as musicians, you take all your influences, it goes through the sausage machine that is you and your brain,
Yeah,
and
very true.
it comes out the other side,
Via
Have a link.
That's it.
sausages.
Exactly. That's it. Long fingers.
Oh,
I'm glad
Yeah.
you do that. I've not been able to do that this week.
Why's that?
I did something to my hand on Monday.
Oh dear.
Oh, be
I'm
careful. Be careful with your playing fingers.
I've not been able to do very much at all. Hopefully tomorrow.
Is it a wrist thing?
No, it's basically, I mean, the thumb. The thing is staying fine, but the thumb just won't move, and it's extremely painful. It'd probably be a bit of carpal tunnel or something like that. But you just have
you been to the doctor?
No, I'm an ex-nurse by profession, and we don't
Oh,
go.
okay. Okay. You might need. I mean, I've had two sort of not injuries, but two. I had tennis elbow, and I had a locked up wrist about 7 years ago. Acupuncture for both solved them.
Well,
So,
I'm a great believer in like little mini TENS machines and.
oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
It doesn't matter because I've had two gigs cancelled this weekend, so I don't have to.
Dear.
All due to band politics.
oh no!
Oh yes. Oh yes.
No!
One word. Drama.
Yeah. The Sunday one, the drummers fell out with the singer, and he's now out of the band, and he'd got that gig, so that one got pulled. The other one I was going to do on Saturday is a different band. The guitarist has fallen out with basically the singer, who she's not a great singer.
You notice it's never the bass player.
No.
Usually is not.
Of course. No.
That's because we're also understanding and
Sensible, you see.
and that's why a lot of these big productions. Who's the musical director? The bass player.
That's right. It's true.
Usually
Very true.
Yeah. So it's going to be a quiet weekend, but there you go. This will be fine.
Well, the weather's meant to be nice. You can enjoy that. Actually, probably doing you a favour with the old thumb.
Yeah, it's okay.
Right.
It's my grandpa's birthday on the 13th, so we're off to the seaside instead.
Very good.
Very nice.
Very good. Lee says never the bass player. Oh, quite right.
Yeah. In actual fact, the job I did open air about 2 weeks back, a friend came who's a drummer, and his keyboard player, and of course they're always actually, of course, going on about, of course, PAs and things, and the bass player and the keyboard player set, of course, their actual sound, and it's awful usually.
Oh dear.
Right? And the actual keyboard player came and said, "That sounds so good. It's so clean and it's brilliant." It says, "Yeah, this is because they're actually pros and they actually know what they're doing."
But again, you see, you learn it doing it on the job. You can go and do all the theory you want, especially with sound engineering. God, we used to do so many venues and we get sound engineers fresh out of college. Don't tell me how to run my desk. It's like, turn the 700 up, will you, on that vocal, and put a 1.2 millisecond delay on it. It sounds great. Do you know where I've gone to from my education? I don't give two shits, mate. Just do what we're asking, and and suddenly the sound blossomed. It's like, it's amazing, that, isn't it? I remember the drummer used to be. He was not willing to take people fresh out of college telling him how to set up a mixer.
Imagine that.
Just do it, right? That we're not asking you. Just do it. It's our sound. Do it. And then the guy did. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, no, because we know our sound. We do our own mixes on our own system. Just do that. Suddenly, how about that? He's learnt something today. Happy days. Happy days. Big Dog, good to see you. Is it true that people play the bass because they weren't cool, confident, or skillful enough to play the guitar? Nonsense.
Complete nonsense.
Complete
Utter
nonsense. You're in
rubbish.
Place,
Rubbish.
you need to head back to those guitar forums. Go and do that.
I started playing guitar purely because it's a bit like you with your teacher at school. We had an art teacher who wanted to do like an after-school thing, and he decided to guitar. And I turned up, knackered old acoustic guitar, and did a few of his lessons. And he took me aside one day and he said, "Bill, I think you should play bass." I said, "Okay, yeah, I'm game for that." So he said, "Well," and he actually, bless him, signed as guarantor for my first bass. I bought on TV back in the day, he then formed a band in the school, and I was the bass player, and then we were off and running, and I was off and running, and that's basically how I got into it. He just said, "I just think it would suit you better," and he was absolutely right.
I did start at the same time as I started playing bass. After about 2 months, I thought, well, actually, I'd like to learn guitar as well. And I started doing it, and it became very apparent very quick. I just didn't have the time, and this was when I was 15. Nor does how they've done it into adult life. I just thought, I haven't got the headspace. I'm learning bass as quick as I can and filling my head with, not theory, but learning how to play and listen to music and getting to know all the famous bass players and all of that. And I just thought, I can't do that, and guitar as well. And I didn't see an outlet for me doing that. And I know loads of bass players who play guitar really well. Some of them have a two-pronged approach to their career. They have guitar playing, they have bass playing. Some, and you meet these buggers all the time, they play drums, they play keys, bass, guitar, amazingly well, and they're constantly busy. I don't have that brain capacity. For me, it was bass, and that's it. That's what I want to do. And done it. And that's kind of it,
You said about the first bass line you learned was Another One Bites the Dust. I was back then, and still am now, rock's my thing. It was all about Thin Lizzy and whatever. The first bass line was Susie and the Banshee.
It's all right.
Because that's the music that they wanted to do. And I actually remember playing. Where did we play? We played somewhere in Stevenage at the Bowes Lions place in Stevenage to a punk audience, and I had long curly hair down here, I had a denim jacket with white snake on the back.
There we go. Halcyon days, Bill. Halcyon days.
I was getting and it was so funny because after we'd finished our set, I went off to sort of, we had dressing rooms and what have you. And I got changed and I said, right, I'm off to the bar. And the security guy said, look, I wouldn't do that. You really, I want to get them people who spat at me. I found them, they bought me a drink. So,
well, yeah, it's a murky old world, the music biz. So.
Yes, it is.
There was, hang on a minute, is it true? Big Dog, now I want to call you out on this. Is it true that people play the bass because they weren't cool, confident, or skillful enough to play the guitar? I present to you Mr. John Entwistle.
Right.
Mr. Jack Bruce, Mr. Paul McCartney, Jacko Pastorius, James Jameson, Geddy Lee, Chris Squire. You know, the list can go on and on. Mark King. Victor Wooten. So if these people aren't cool, confident, or skillful, I don't know what is. So I'm guessing you are a guitar player and you've entered the lower regions into the bass dungeon. So you can either sit here and be pleasant, or you can go back to the guitar forums, or come back with a very witty comment, and all's good. I can see loads of messages here. Right, Lee Tab, wait for an alibi. Thin Lizzie's best.
Thin Lizzie, yeah.
Very good. Gareth Harrison, owner 6-string, can play a few cowboy chords, but that's about it. Matt Van Zanten, good to see you. Welcome here on Brooks's Bass Corner. I've been following this man on Facebook for the best part of about 15 years. So for you to come and grace my YouTube channel, thank you. Good to see you. Welcome. Got anything you want to add in? So tonight's topic of conversation is, I want to hear people's bass stories. How did you end up becoming a bass player? If you want to join us by video here on screen, we can have up to 8 of us on screen. Email me. There's a ticker running along the top of the screen. Email brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. I send you an invite. You click on the invite and you come to screen like these fine chaps here. Alternatively, you can just stay on the text chat. That's all cool. If you want to come on live but you don't want to be on by video, you just want to do audio, you can do that as well. It's all good. So yeah. There we go. But the whole AI thing, I think it's a case of wait and see. Yeah. Wait and see what happens. I think if we give it 3 to 5 years, we'll have an idea what's going to. Really, it's at the moment it's too early. No one can say. And every time we get these idiosyncratic things appear, like this Velvet Sundown, whatever they're called. All we can do is make a judgment call on it because we've got no experience of what might come further up the line, but we'll see, won't we? We'll see. It just worries me that, all this stuff is happening, but it's happening at such a rapid rate. That's the worrying thing. Now look, as a YouTube creator, I'm seeing this every day. Suddenly we've gone from thumbnail generation to script generation. You can get ChatGPT to give you 100 titles that will guarantee you millions of views. Well, you don't know. You don't know until you create that content. Yeah, but I look at the progress. So in 3 weeks' time, the channel will be 5 years old. None of this stuff was there 5 years ago. Nope. So how quickly all of that has snowballed. And suddenly we've got all these extra tools, and it's like, so for someone creating a YouTube channel, now they can go down the AI route and just completely follow that and let that do all the work. But I seriously say, you need to know how to edit a video. You need to know how to research, keyword research, in order to come up with video titles. But none of us have got the crystal ball, and the algorithm keeps changing month by month by month, which is why no one can figure it out. And thank God no one can, because there are people in this world who would use it to their means. And yeah, so anyway, it is what it is. I think Matt has asked, you'd like to join the chat. Here we go.
Another one.
Just I have to change the screen format.
Come along.
That's
Fancy
it.
a celebrity square set up.
That's it. It's coming, isn't it?
X is here, O's here.
That's
Okay, got it.
Without Bob Monkhouse.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
That's it. So we can have up to
Join the
8
party.
people. So it's going to be interesting how this looks. Stacey, constantly evolving information. That's it. Gareth Harrison, thing with AI is people can use it to write music, but you still need musicians to tour it.
Every time.
That's going to change.
Yeah, well.
Avatars, all of that. Jay, you've just said so-called writers don't have ownership of it. There's all of this. It's a melting pot of what's going to happen, and none of us know. None of us have a clue. And
Right.
where are we going to be in another 5 years? What will have happened? Technology is just so quick at changing.
Mm-hmm.
Can we actually not talk about that? I should be 60 in under 5 years.
Well,
So what you're trying to say, Rich?
we're all heading that way.
I'm old.
Well, none of us can slow down a clock for that one.
Nah, it's a shame.
53.
Yes, Bill.
63.
Say again.
I'm 63.
Well, you're
Already?
looking good on it, so well done. Well done. And a fine taste in bass guitars, I might add.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
keep in mind, Billy Sheehan is 72. Lee Sklar is what, 70? What?
78.
Okay.
78.
So,
And he was very sprightly on last week's live chat.
Yeah, he was.
I
yeah.
thought.
of course.
Brilliant.
And what a pleasure that was. Say again, Bill.
Music keeps you young.
Mate, it does. It really
It does.
I'm
Especially
not sure
here.
Ollie would agree with you. But the mind is, yeah.
Absolutely.
The mind is engaged because both hands are in action.
Yeah, I'm not so sure going out and playing at the 12 Pins in Finsbury Park on a Saturday keeps you young, but there we go. Anyone who's ever played the 12 Pins will agree with me on that
I
one.
have a long time ago.
Especially if you can't park close. As I found out on the one and only occasion I played there about 3 years ago, having heard many a story about it, rolling up at 8 o'clock on a Saturday and realising there was no parking, and I had to go up the road, put everything on a trolley 3 times and walk backwards and forwards like doing a marathon, and then do it again at the end, packing up. What a joy. What a joy. I bring to the screen Matt Van Zanten. Good to see you, sir. 3 times and walk backwards and forwards. How are you? Marathon.
Evening, Matt.
Let's do it again at the end. Good to see you. I can hear we've got some. I need to just good do that 3 times. We're getting echo from your end. Let's see if I can sort that. I need to demo it.
Make it solved by Matt turning his speakers down a little.
Maybe that might do it. Just turn your speaker down a little, Matt. I think there we go. It's better. There we are. Welcome. You're amongst friends. We're talking bass. Stacey, for everything AI solves, there are 8 questions to ask. Does seem to be that way. There we are.
Every time.
It's a little quiet on the gig front this week, as most musicians I know are watching Oasis this weekend. Yeah. Or Sabbath, yeah. And Stacey saying hello, Matt. There we go. Quiet on the gigs front this week. Cool. We have a whole bunch of us here who are States fans. And I know you are, Matt. Yeah. And States. There's a delay.
No, I got it right. I got different roles playing now, so but it's all cool now.
Very good. Very good. Rich, how's that Status King Bass 2 coming along?
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah?
On the back here.
Not up for sale yet?
Not yet, but if you offer me the right number, you never know. You know.
Oh, very good.
Everything has a price.
Might
That's
be
true.
a bit slower to go, but the King Bass 2, if the number started with a 5, I'd be interested.
£5? What?
Because it is a
50.
really, really rare one.
Oh,
50
500.
pounds, he
sorry.
says.
They're only about 60 in total made, and the last 2 were custom orders in 2019 and 2020, and mine was number 59. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite a
Definitely collectible.
special one. Yeah.
So what's going to be coming out with you when you get back out onto the Everly Brothers? Is that Jazz's all the way?
Yes, it's either Jazz's or the old Stang. Yeah.
There we go.
Either or. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
You knew Hills Headless then?
Not really apt for the sort of period, no.
How are you getting on with it?
The one I've got is okay. I've actually sort of set it all up. Mine has got an Arctic 3 preamp in it as well. It's been actually changed, so it's sort of, punchy. It's nice to play, but I think from what we've been talking about today, a friend and I who trades, it's going along with the Vintera 2 Mustang, the other one, to be traded. So there you go.
Because I only got mine because of the, because they're ever changing keys. Not a huge 5-string fan, but but it was a must for that little job.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so those two are probably going to go for a one of the Vander Nate Mendel Ps. So
Yes.
Give it a go.
Gareth saying he's been favouring his Gretsch short scale with flats recently. Probably a man after your own heart, Rich.
Not bad, yeah. In actual fact, one of those almost came in as an actual trade.
Okay.
But,
what, the Gretsch Jet?
Backed out. It was a 2002 or something. It was a junior jet, and the actual sort of dark brown grey burst. It had a name. It was Bristol Fog. That was it.
Okay.
Your name,
Lovely.
Yeah.
If it goes green, is it the James Herbert Fog?
Quite possibly, yeah.
Like the front cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Time to play some Paul Samuel Smith. Well, quite. Speak to Mr. Sheehan about that.
Indeed.
Patrick Sweeney, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope everyone's, what's he saying? Evening, Mike, and everyone. How is everyone? Yeah, we're good. Alembic boy will spank my G-string. You're all right, spank it yourself.
I didn't know we were in that kind of shop. Okay.
Well, no, exactly. Just checked out, albeit quickly, the Rod Stewart Glastonbury set is sad to see a pre-recorded band. You were right. Well, thank you. I did sit there because I thought, I used to be a huge fan of Rod until he had his cancer on his throat in about 2002. And when he came back after that, it's just 2001, did an album after that, and he was promoting it on the TV, and his voice was shot. And it's always been on that borderline between power and going. And unfortunately, since that happened, I don't think his voice has ever recovered. I think it's a bit like Shania Twain's with the whole Lyme disease and then having COVID. And once your vocal cords get shot, you're kind of on a slippery slope. And I thought, well, I can't comment about Rod, not just on here, but with friends or whatever, if I don't watch it. And he had some dodgy moments. There were a couple of songs that kind of suited his voice, but I was more interested in watching what the band were doing. And I thought, well, obviously my focus is going to be on the bass player. And I just sat there, and pretty much through the whole gig, the guy looked like he was about to crap himself. And the thing is, he's the backup bass player for Rod's regular bass player. So when they're doing Vegas runs, I'm guessing the regular guy maybe does half and the backup guy does half. So you've always got two people ready to go. Wherever Rod's going in the world, he's got two people for each position. And I just looked at the guys playing, and it was like he just constantly was looking down. And I thought, okay, well, maybe he's live. And then my line of sight was drawn to his playing hand. And I'm like, he's tickling the strings. He's not even playing them, really. And then there are a couple of songs that I've played. I mean, I played on a Rod Stewart tribute album, so I know how a lot of those lines go. And there were a couple of parts of, he's going to go up. And he went down. And I'm like, why have you gone down? Because I can hear the notes have gone, up. Yeah, you've gone down. So how does that work? And the notes were too far away for him to be playing in position. It wasn't position. This was up above the 12th fret positioning. And I'm like, right, there's something not right here. And as the thing went on, it became sort of clearer to me that the soloists, so the guitarist when he did a solo was, I think, live. And I think I saw him turn his volume up. The fiddle players were live. The sax player, I think, was live. But the core band, the drums, keys, general guitars, because I think he had 2 or 3 guitar players, and the bass player, I am sure, were recorded. And as I said on last week's live chat, I think what they have done there is they've given themselves a safety blanket. So they've got a great production, a great sounding production, which is recorded in a studio or on a live rehearsal stage. It's all produced, it's all mixed to perfection. They've got that as like their core, and then the soloists play on top. So every night, Rod knows it's going to be amazing because it's all been mixed and it's perfect. There's nothing to go wrong. Now, on a Vegas stage, you can probably, I mean, the venue's fairly big, and at Glastonbury, it's fairly big. But when you've got a TV audience and we can sit there and scrutinize it, you can see when things aren't right. And it just struck me. There were a couple of points where it was, I think the bass player suddenly double took. And I've done it when I think I've done 2 gigs where I've mimed in the past. One was an ABBA gig. I can't remember what the other one was. And you kind of have an out-of-body experience because you're like, well, I'm playing, but the bass line I'm hearing isn't me playing. And you suddenly go, oh, Christ, am I playing the right thing? Is this matching up? When you've got millions of people at home being able to watch that performance and you can see him and it's like, that's not right. That's a bass player wouldn't play it like that. And then I sort of Google searched him and I thought, crikey, he's quite a known player. He's done a lot of stuff. But I didn't understand why he was quite so hesitant in his playing. But there we go.
It also depends on the ear mix because, and some of those pre-recorded shots, you're actually playing, but you're playing to the track so you can hear yourself and the track. So you might realize in a moment that suddenly you've botched it.
Yeah.
Oops,
I think he might have been having a bit of that. He's on stage in front of 200,000 people. I'm miming. It's not me playing. Lee Tav, I'm sending you an invite so you can come in and join in. You weren't too late. We run till about 11 o'clock. So
I have a Lee Tav story to tell you when he comes on.
That's all right.
Yes.
Lee Tav saying hello. Patrick James Howard, good to see you too. Patrick, how the hell heel are you? Long time no see. There you go. You see, I'm drawing people out from under their rocks today.
Right.
See, they're all hoping Lee Sklar's going to appear. And he might. He can appear at any time. You got to remember we're 6 hours ahead here in London.
Yes, you are.
Lemon Boy, tickling exactly. He didn't seem to be fretting as we would too. Correct. George Iliadis, thank you for your comments last week. I put a live video up after Diogo Jota died on Thursday, and it caught me unawares. I got a bit emotional, and I shouldn't have done, but it did. And George wrote me the loveliest message. So thank you, George. Bless your heart. It resonated. So thank you. Let me agree on the pre-production bit too. I mean, a lot of the Vegas things, I think probably, you got people like Celine Dion, Shania Twain, Matt Goss. I'm joking. I'm saying that with a laugh. Yeah, right. Matt Goss doing a Vegas run. Do me a favour. As someone put up, Bros asked the question, when will I be famous? And someone else replied, I'll tell you exactly. 1988 to 1990. That was it. There we are. I found it funny anyway. Right, Lee, Patrick, I'm good. Thanks, mate. Thank you for asking. I hope you're all good too. Cool. Cool. It is coming up 25 to 10 here in London town. Brooks' Bass Corner, live chat 121 tonight. Got any questions about bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, gear, accessories, great bass players, albums with great bass playing on? I've got Pink Bassman, I've got Bill Derbyshire, I've got Richard Fitton Perkins, I've got Matt Van Zanten from Holland. You want to come in, talk bass guitars? This is the place to do it. We're here every Tuesday from 8 p.m. UK time. So you got any questions? And the guys will try and help you as much as I can. That's what we're here to do. You know, offer the advice, share the knowledge. It's all good. Hassan Iqbal, what is this? It's a strip show, can't you tell? Idiot. Sorry. Well, I mean,
okay, so shall we go?
Exactly. Yeah, I know where that's been, thanks. Hassan, this is a bass channel. I know you've probably come in off of a shorts feed, a vertical live stream feed. We're talking bass guitars, my friend. Bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects. We're all bass players. If you want to join in the conversation, feel free. If you're here for cooking, we're not doing that. That's next week. So if you want to join it, Jan, the lovely Jan. Jan used to work with me in an ABBA tribute. I've known Jan, oh my goodness me, 27 years, my love. Jan's fabulous. Jan, if you want to come on by video, you're more than welcome. If you want to sit there and just do the text chat, you're cool. I used to work with this woman all the time. It was the biggest amount of fun I've ever had on gigs. She was just fabulous. Jan used to be the blonde singer in the first ABBA tribute I worked with. So that was, dare I say it, 1998, 27 years ago. Bless your heart. Thank you for coming on. See, I keep telling you I have a live a YouTube channel, and now this proves it. So you've seen it. Do they all use a fan? No. That's my my little thing. I used to have a fan with me on stage to blow, well, to keep me cool on the hot gigs, but also to blow cigarette smoke back into the audience. I didn't want it. And the worst thing is you had to clean it every 6 weeks because the blades would fur up, and you suddenly realise that's what's in your lungs. So there we go. There we go. There's Stacey, J-Ro Rueda. I'm guessing I've pronounced that right. Hello. Good to see you. Welcome. This is Brooks' Bass Corner. We're talking bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, bass accessories, great bass players, albums with great bass playing on. You've got any questions? Ask me. If we can offer any help or advice, that's what we're here for. If I don't know the answer, this fabulous cornucopia of bass talent in front of me will try and help. And if we can't sort it, we've got 20 people watching live at the moment, as well as, let's have a look on the analytics, shall we? We've got,
let's have it.
Well, the video's had 300 views so far. So, we've got a load of people all over the world. So you can tap into this knowledge, the bass knowledge. But I've got Jam watching, so I'm happy. Very good. Very good. Goodness me, look at us. How about that? I've got 5 of us here. Fabulous. And Lee Tabb's on his way.
All gathered around the king at the bottom.
That's it. It's like courtiers, isn't it? And here we go. Right, so we've got 6. Blimey.
That's right.
I've got to go through the graphic settings. There we go. 6 of us. How about that? It's like a Zoom call for bass.
I said earlier that I had a Lee Tabb story. Shall we have a go on a Lee Tabb story?
Go for it.
Okay, so this fine gentleman in the corner sent me a tune to listen to, and he's looking at me like piss off. No, not like that. So honestly, I think when you put it out for everybody, I think it'll be amazing, because to me it sounded like a cross between Level 42 and Jamiroquai.
Oh, it's not a bad mix.
Complete with him having a Bosch and then singing. So, well done, lad. Well done.
Yeah.
Oh, Jamie, thank you. Can you guys hear me all right?
We can hear you fine.
You're good.
Yeah. I've been an admirer of your bass playing for years, going back to the days of the Level 42 web digest. So, although we've never properly conversed other than the odd message on Facebook, I've followed your career. So, well done, young man.
I don't know what to say. That's amazing.
Don't have to say anything. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, that it's funny. I actually mentioned Jamie. Jamie, thanks for the introduction, man. That's lovely.
Cheers, man.
I mentioned today to somebody. I don't know whether has anybody heard the name Matt Richardson?
Yes, I know, Matt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, hold where you are, and we're coming right back to that in about 10 seconds. So in 1990, I saw Level 42 at Cardiff Uni on the very, very, very first night that we heard any of the material from Guaranteed. And I took a load of pictures and I put them up on my Facebook page about 6-7 years ago. And I got a message from Matt. And again, we pass on all the bass forums and what have you. We'd never really had a conversation. And he said, "See that bloke in the denim jacket?" I went, "From this picture from 1990. I went, "Yeah." He said, "That's me."
Amazing.
He was literally right in front of me while I was taking all these pictures. And here we are 35 years later. And we were having a conversation. So carry on.
No, amazing. Well, funny enough, I think I first came across Matt. I wasn't so much on the web dive, but the drummer in my band, Alex Humphreys, who I'd been best mates with for the best part of 30 plus years. I think he turns 40 in August, which makes me sound older as well.
Has Alex got ginger hair?
Correct. Yeah.
We used to talk all the time on the Level 42 digest. He and I would have really long conversations about drumming and bass playing and Level 42, funnily enough. So say hello for me when you next see him.
I will do. Well, he's. I turned 42 last Friday.
You've reached it.
Happy birthday.
Level 42 for Lee. Well done, lad. Well done.
That's it.
Cheers to you.
Downhill from here. Downhill from here, man.
And but yeah, going back to the digest thing, Alex was prominent on that a lot, and it's funny. I started playing bass when I was 16, and just tell you a very quick story how that came about. My dad he went to Royal College of Music when he was about 11, playing classical guitar, and all he wanted to play was like Segovia and stuff like that. And when he realised that he didn't quite have the ability to play to that level, he chopped a few fingers off and then tried to play Django Reinhardt stuff. So he, joking aside, he was massively into the gypsy jazz thing. And at the same time, my mum was a bit younger. It wasn't my mum at the time, but she was singing professionally at the age of about 13, singing Shaka Khan and Barbara Streisand, which she was brought up in a place called Coldine outside of Brighton. And to cut a long story short, those two sort of get together. Me and my sister sort of turned up, and we were brought up with Earth, Wind and Fire and Average White Band and Tower of Power. That's all that played in the house. So excellent,
brilliant.
Yeah. Fast forward.
There's only one way you were going.
Yeah. Very fortunate in that sense. And then a few years later, my dad was teaching guitar in Weybridge called Heathside. And, there was a bass player that had his, and one particular Easter holiday, the bass player was away. So my dad offered to take up the lessons for this bass player. And it just so happened that in that same Easter holiday, couple of weeks off, he brought a bass home, and he was playing it through his Marshall guitar amp. And I went out. I was into sort of computer games and playing football, a bit like what you said, Mike, but not really doing much music-wise. And went out in the car, and my best mate, his stepdad, was driving. We were driving to somewhere in Egham, and Lessons in Love came on in the car. And I had no idea what the track was, who it was, but as a piece of music, I got into my stuff. And I remember the album I was listening to, Death, was actually a Daryl Hall solo album called Soul Alone from about...
Yeah, love that album.
I think there's a really good Marvin Gaye cover on there.
There's and you know who produced it?
Is it Alan
Gorry?
Yeah,
Average White Band. And he's playing both him and the regular bass player for Hall & Oates, who was a guy called T-Bone Walk. who's a legend. Billy Sheehan used to not go on tour so that he could go and see T-Bone do gigs.
Oh, what a great story. Yeah. So I knew about the Alan Gorrie connection there because my dad used to harp on about it. Massive average. And then I was into the side projects that Steve Ferroni did with Al Jarreau and not Brother Jackson, George Duke. Yeah. And this is a few years later. I'm just going back to the day that I heard Level 42, and it changed my life, because I remember going home. I remember that piece of music being like, you know, just the pre-chorus bit, thinking, what a great bit of music that was. I went home, and I remember me, my mum and dad and my sister went for a Chinese in Chertsey that night. And I remember suddenly clicking my fingers and go, oh my God, I heard this track today by a group called Level 42. And my mum said, all right, well, we'll dig out some albums when we go home. And they only had the 2 albums. One was Running in the Family, but more importantly was the self-titled 1981. And my dad at the time, we still got it. He had a Linaxis record player with some really good headphones, amplification, and whatever. And I still remember to the day listening to those 2 albums, but particularly the 1981 album, back to back. And it must have been about 3 or 4 in the morning. I probably started at about 10:30 when we got back in. And I was still up at 3 o'clock listening to that Level 42 album. So much. And then literally within a couple of weeks, there was a bass already in the house. So I just I picked it up. I think my dad sort of roughly told me how slap bass worked, and I think about 10 days after that, I bought a Trace Elliott box of 65 from Anderton's in Guildford. By the August, I bought a JD Roadie 2A from the Bass Centre, obviously. Yeah.
But when you went in the Bass Centre, did you make the same mistake I did? So did you ask to play a JD Status? Not knowing they were 2 separate brands. No, because on the albums it always said Mark King uses basses by JD space Status. Yeah, so I assumed that was it. It was a JD Status. And I went in and said, can I play a JD Status, please? And they said, well, which one do you want? I said, well, that one. He said, well, that's a JD. I said, well, what's a JD Status? He said, no, Status are over there, mate. I said, no, it's a JD Status. He went, no, it's 2 separate brands. Idiot.
Well, at that point, I definitely hadn't come across Status at all. And the only thing I'd seen live of Mark King's play was it just happened that the best mate whose stepdad was driving that car on the way to that thing where I heard Lessons in Love. His mum was a big fan of the band, and she had World Machine on CD, and she had a video of the 1986 Prince's Trust. And I played that, and obviously wound it to the Hot Water track. But it was everything about Mark King's sort of persona, his personality, his attack on the bass. I don't know if you remember, but the shot behind him as he sort of says, and honestly, that was life changing, because it just, I was like, the way you described it, Mike, when you said that's what I want to do. And I had a few years early, because as Jamie said about the singing, I'd been singing a lot longer, but I had no real, I wouldn't even say confidence. It was even a want to actually sing in front of people. I just liked. I loved like George Michael's voice, Freddie Mercury's voice. I loved the big hits, Al Green and stuff like that. And when Jamiroquai first came, well, not first came out, but when I first heard them, and Virtual Insanity come out in about 1996. It's funny, I was just picking the missus up from a barbecue earlier, and she was having a chat with 2 of her friends, and they said, "Oh, Lee, when are you going to get us in the studio to do some recording and stuff?" And I said, "Forget it." After a few glasses of Prosecco and whatever. And said, what was the first thing you ever wanted to sing? And one of the reasons I wanted to come onto this is the Thank you so much for having me.
Right.
We're really to actually suddenly have this sort of talk about the fact that, and again about the web digest being mentioned earlier, which is crazy that you brought that up.
Well, what's more crazy is the other week we were discussing it, and I found in my inbox, in my emails, messages from the digest when 9/11 happened. Kept them. And I found some of the names on there and after that, I posted a message to Lolita Jackson, who was regularly on it. We've stayed in touch. The bizarre thing is 30 years ago, she came to London with one of her friends back in the days when we had the email digest, not the web digest, the email digest. And I was meant to go and meet her and her mate and have a coffee and all that. And unfortunately, at the time, I just joined the band and I was in the south of France and I missed their visit. And I messaged her and said, I see you're coming to London. We're 30 years late, but do you want to meet for a coffee? And she said, and I told her I'd found these messages. She said, can you send them to me? I have none of my emails from around that time. So if you could send them to me, she said it would bring back so many sort of good memories of the digest. Obviously not good what happened that day, but some of the names, she said, I'm still in touch with those people in the US because back then, when the email digest came into being, which was 94, I was the guy that broke the news on that Level 42 was splitting up because I had gone to see the first night in Portsmouth, and back then there was no more than 100 people on this digest, and all these people in the US had no idea that Level 42 were about to split up. And it was bizarre how that thing snowballed into the thing that became the digest with thousands of people all over the world on it. Bizarre.
Oh, well, amazing. And I think, well, not that I remember this 11 messages, but I'm pretty sure that 2001, myself and Alex were started on. But yeah, just quickly on the Jamiroquai thing, I remember the first music thing that I'd done was there was a Stars in Their Eyes competition at school. And to be honest, all the acts were just kind of girl dance groups or troops, whatever you call it. And I think there was a couple of girl single singers, and I literally was the only male doing anything. And I sang Virtual Insanity and generally walked the competition. I was about 3'8", and yeah, it's but that was really the first. Once I got into that, but this was years before I knew who Stewart Zender was, and you know, I just loved that, you know, the music side of stuff. And I think by that time I'd listened to, I was obsessed with all the Earth, Wind and Fire albums. Well, I'd say probably between 1974, which I think was That's the Way of the World, and then you had Gratitude, Spirit, All in All, I Am, Faces, and Raise. And I think those 5 or 6 albums, you know, they were kind of like, that was probably 2 or 3 years before Level 42. I even knew who they were. And again, what a setup. But since then, you know, I mean, I did like a podcast thing with Marcus Bell for Bass Direct a few months back, and I've been great friends with Marcus and just loved these discussions. And I tell you one band that absolutely, which was shortly after Level 42, was Cassiopeia.
Yes.
Japanese band.
Yeah, and Tetsuo Sakurai and Yoshiro Naruse, and those 2 players in that band. Again, life-changing. I still love and watch and listen to that band. But that then grew up, from that grew sort of a load of branches out for Japanese jazz fusions. You've got Toshiki Kadomatsu and T-Square and Takanaka and all those players and that. And then going back to the Daryl Hall solo stuff, I love the West Coast AOR stuff. Like, have you heard of the group Pages?
Yes. Richard Page and
Steve George.
Yes.
And this, I really don't know too many people who dig that sort of stuff. There's Eric Tagg was another guy who worked with Lee Ritner, probably know. And
so if you like all that stuff, Lee, do you know who Young Gun Silver Fox are?
100%, yeah.
Good man.
And have you heard of steakhouse? Yeah, all that.
Yeah, there's loads of it.
They all. Have you heard Ole Barud, the Norwegian guy?
Yes.
Amazing guitar player, amazing singer. All of those guys, even Andy. I swear they all went to like just one room and just listened to Richard Page voice and tried to emulate his vocals.
He nearly joined Toto.
Yes.
And, I think he nearly joined in '84, and he was so committed to Mr. Mister he didn't. Obviously, they had their success, and I think Lukather went back to him after Joseph Williams. And he didn't want to do it, and they also asked Eric Martin, and Eric Martin had just agreed to do Mr. Big. So yeah, all those.
I read exactly that story within probably the last 6 months about well, not judge.
Toto's life story could have been very different.
Yeah.
if either of those had come off.
And what's crazy about Richard Page as well is that he was a backing vocalist for Andy Gibb. There's live footage. There's live footage of him sitting here playing keys and singing, big glasses, moppy hair,
That's it.
Oh, amazing.
Crazy times.
Really,
yes.
really tough. Well,
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think just very quickly, just going back to what Jamie said about the track, I think, that's been from a few years of sort of pre-production and stuff. And I got married last year. I've got 2 young kids, and I've changed jobs a couple of times in the last sort of 18 months, and it's been an absolute whirlwind. And really, it's only now where I've been able to start getting the vocals done for this new album, this Shock Contender album that I want to do. And I've done all the chords and all the synth parts. It's all actually all done on the bass. There's no keys on it at all. I've programmed the drums, and I've got a 17-year-old Australian drummer that's sending me his versions of the drums. I've got a couple of other players as well as Alex playing his versions of the drums. So I'm trying to do almost like a Jay Graydon, a Steely Dan, Fagan and Becker thing, where they get everybody's 2 pence worth and
you got to sift through it.
Stuff. Yeah.
Well, it sounds good so far, man. Sounds good so
Best
far.
of luck with it. These are not small undertakings. It takes a lot of time and effort. So, and best not to rush it. That's the thing. Very easy to get sort of wrapped up in something. You can't see the wood for the trees. You just got to work your way through it slowly but surely, and then it'll all fit in place. It'll do its thing. There we go. Well, it's good to have you on board, mate. Very good.
And it's amazing how we all round about too, isn't it? Because the only reason I know Lee is because of who, Lee? Nick Smith.
Yeah.
Never heard of him. Never heard.
Right.
Well, funnily enough, I was using his bass today on one of the recordings I was doing for John Beadle.
Nice.
The Pat Benatar track. Exactly the right bass for that. That will be on the video.
One. That's the one. Well, there you go. Wait till September, and I'll have a go on a certain blue monster, shall we say?
There we go. Ollie Bowens appeared. It's good to see you, sir. Hope everything's good in JD land with you. The stuff Lee makes is bloody brilliant. There you go. There's a ringing endorsement for you.
There you go.
Grand.
So suddenly it's the JD talk again.
Yeah, it's funny how it all spins around that way.
Woo! Back to JD world.
Oh. Sorry to interrupt. I'm going to have to say tatty bye.
Bedtime.
Other less interesting things to do.
All right, mate. No worries. Well, thank you for joining in.
Cheery, bye.
Cheers, Bill.
See you soon, Bill. Take it easy. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
Yeah, cheers, bye.
Cheers.
And like that, he disappeared. It's like Mr. Ben.
Ping.
Yeah, people in America won't know what Mr. Ben was, but there we are. So yes, it is. It's just coming up 10 o'clock here. Brookspace Corner, live chat 121. Coming to you all the way from London town here in the UK. If you've got any questions about basses, amps, effects, accessories, great bass players, albums with great bass players on, if we can help you, if you need some advice, looking for some information or some buying guidance, that's what we're here for. If I don't know the answer and these fine, lovely, handsome specimens don't know, then we open up to the floor and some of the other people on here might know. So all good. All good. If you want to join in by live, you can email me. There's a ticker running along top of the screen, brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. Email me. I send you an invite. You click on the invite, you come onto the screen live, just like these fine chaps have. James Howard, I'm off now. Oh, okay. As work tomorrow. Another great show. Thank you very much. Good luck. All good. No worries, James. Arthur Dent, a Russian metal band, greets you and wishes you a good stream. Stay loud. Thanks, Arthur. Good to see you. And you got a 42 in your profile picture. I'll take that. That's very
right.
good. Thank you. Good to see you. Yes. So the main topic of tonight was people's bass stories. How did you get playing? But we can open it up. You got anything else bass-wise you want to talk about? Feel free. Feel free. If you want to discuss the joys of status basses, we can do that. It's all good.
Well, we've already
week.
spoke about JD, so move along.
That's it.
And
That's
I can
right.
see a status bass flying over a gentleman's head tonight.
Yes. I was waiting for you to pick up on that. Rich.
Yes.
Right.
I've already seen it. I thought, that looks suspiciously like a King bass.
It's a King bass. I used it on probably 1,000 gigs.
Yeah,
and it's
excellent.
now retired.
Yeah,
Nowadays I use a S2000.
nice. Yeah,
Bass.
very good.
Yeah, it's a great
He has
bass.
a very nice collection, Rich. I can guarantee it.
But don't tell everything.
No,
No,
it's all good.
I started out on the regular cheap basses and lately up to alembic basses.
Yeah.
But alembic basses are very big, and we tour a lot, so it's another comfortable bass to travel along with.
Yeah.
Then I met on a fair in Frankfurt with the people from Status, and I always wanted a Status bass. I saw that on a video clip from Tears for Fears,
Mm-hmm.
from the first song, Shout.
Yeah, he had a series too.
I go, what's that? It's a bass without a head, and I wanted it. And I found them on the Frankfurt Messe, and I talked with them, and they talked me into the King bass, which was totally new at that moment. And I bought it. And from that, I went to the S2 and the S2000 and the S3000. They are all here in house now.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's hard to believe that the King bass is 24 years old.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
scary, isn't it?
24 years ago. I remember seeing the first run of gigs when he first got them, and Nick obviously did the demo for Australian TV. Got himself into a lot of trouble playing Mark's own basses before Mark had even got them. And then
Oh,
Stewart
yes.
shouldn't have told him. Should have kept quiet on that one. He went absolutely nuts.
I remember seeing Mark King for the first time. At that moment, my music was the Police, The Cure, that sort of thing. And somebody told me, "Oh, you play bass? You have to come along. There's a band in Groningen, in Holland, and you have to see that bass player." And I went there, and I thought, I think that guy is mental. He's hammering the bass. He's crazy. That's not how it's supposed to be. And the further along in the concert, I was totally blown away by him. His personality on stage, his energy.
The funny thing is, when you talk to people, and I've been through this for like 40 years, so you know I've been a fan of what Mark does and what have you. People hear it on record, and if they don't like it, or they don't like the way he is, or the other material and the hits of the band, they'll dismiss it very offhand. I always say to them, go and watch a gig. Even if you don't like it, go and watch a gig, because I defy you not to get taken in with the way the bass is live, because Mark and the sound people, they've always had top-notch sound people. They've always had the best gear, and certainly in the heyday, okay, but very difficult to be in the audience of a level 42 show, certainly back in the heyday, and not to get swept along with the way the bass hit you, because on record it's mixed down and it's polite and it's got keyboard bass as well, and live it's like, and it was literally like someone hitting you with a shovel. I remember when I first saw them at Wembley, 89, so staring at Sun Tour. So they were in what he used to refer to as barns of places. And I remember him playing his Alembic Series 2, and it was literally just like a battering ram hitting you. And he was, the whole dun, 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 which is fine. But when he's doing it, and it's like, and you'll get, and it's like, wow. And people were coming out of that gig who had seen live at Wembley. That was all mixed for TV and video. It wasn't mixed as live show in your face. And when you're there, I remember taking my sister to see them in 1990 at Hammersmith. She said, I can't believe how like physical it is. I said, that's what it is. And then you go and see other bands where the bass isn't quite as at the forefront, and you suddenly go, actually, that's really good. What they do is really good. It's and it's a one-off, and I can't remember too many other gigs. I mean, very few people play like Mark in terms of bands that have been huge. He has his unique style of playing, but in fact, no gig I've ever been to had that sort of sound reinforcement. Prince kind of had it, but his bass was like full on, whereas Mark's is like hi-fi. High fidelity, you're hearing everything, top, middle, and bottom, and feeling it. When he plucks a string, you feel it. It's like your hair stands on it. Jamie's beard sort of goes outwards. There's nothing on the top again. But I've never experienced it. Experienced it with any other band.
No, I was at that moment. I was a fan. Immediately, it was very impressive. Oh, also his personality and. His playing style is fabulous, but what most impresses me is his singing along with complex bass lines.
Yeah, and chewing gum.
Chewing gum at the same time. Yes.
How he doesn't bite his tongue, I've no idea. In fact, that would be a question. Next time I speak to him, I say, "Have you done that and not bite your tongue?" He'll probably tell me I bite it every day, but. Not one I've asked him. Actually, what was the question? There was one question I had to really, it's like top of my list. I've got an ongoing list so that if he and I do another interview, there was something that's at the top of the list. I can't remember what it is. Straight off the top of my head. I'll remember it later. It's all good. But it's an amazing band. Amazing band.
Yeah, they had at least here in Holland, moments when they were doing too much backing tracks during the live shows. That was a pity, I thought. Also, with the bass was constantly dubbed by some synthesizer bass.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the last show I saw a few years ago, kept running along. Last show I saw a few years ago, it was a real live bass.
Yeah.
Without a backing track underneath it.
He's kind of toned it down, and I think also since they came out of COVID, and obviously the first tour back after COVID was the 40th anniversary of that first album, so there was no keyboard bass on there, so he kind of had to do it, and I think he's kind of maintained that going along. Last tour, there were quite a few of the earlier tracks, which obviously don't have keyboard bass on, so, it kind of makes sense. I think the things like To Be With You Again, Running in the Family, Lessons in Love, but they've got that on, but they've moved away from doing the latter albums, if you like, which had a lot of that on. So, he can kind of do what he wants. I think it gives him a bit more, well, we know, it gives him a bit more freedom to do the stuff he's known for,
You see that a lot with the live bands nowadays, with a lot of backing tracks going along. And also bass on the backing tracks. I don't like it, to be honest.
It worked for Mark because of the string gauge, because everything was so light and percussive, I think. And also, you got to remember, they didn't start really doing that until World Machine Running in the Family, when they were playing the bigger places. So it's reinforcing the bottom end. When you're playing the Hexagon in Reading and Gold Diggers in Chippenham, you don't really need to reinforce it, because the bass guitar would do everything they needed it to do. But once they were doing the Barnes, and I've seen it with some bands where the bass has just completely disappeared. I've said here on the live chat before, I saw G3 with Satriani and Vi and all of that. And Stu Ham was the bass player for Joe Satriani at Wembley, 98. He looked like he played a great gig, but I couldn't hear a note all night. It was just like, sounded like someone playing through a pillow. It was awful. But he looked like he played great. I mean, he was going that all night. I couldn't hear any of the notes or distinguish anything he did.
That's
but with Mark
to the sound check from Level 42. The last time I saw them here in Holland, playing at a venue, and I heard several other bands there before, and always the bass sounded crap, or you couldn't hear it at all what was playing. And I was wondering, well, what was Level 42 going to sound like? And it sounded absolutely great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't know what the sound engineer did, but I could hear every note Mark was playing.
Yeah. Patrick says, Patrick Sweeney, the lovely Patrick Sweeney, he used to go to some Level 42 sound checks, and the bass was mighty, and he used to go mental on the bass, just messing around. I've said many occasions, and I've posted it up on the community tab many times, that sound check play along on the Fate Company video. It's one of my, in fact, it's probably my favorite solo, and I've heard him do quite a few over the years, but it's just straight off the cuff. He's not even thinking about it. He's just rattling stuff off. And I think that sound check was the day he got those medium scale alembics.
That makes sense.
And that sound check in Holland, he's just like, he's not even thinking about, he's just checking his sounds, having a bit of a frimming. Gold dust, absolute gold dust. And look, I've sat there in a room, in a hotel room, with him no further away from me than this camera is now, playing a 6-string bass, and it's like a dynamo when he's doing. It's just like, this is meant, and I'm sat there going, just keep pinching yourself, Mike. You're sat in front of Mark, and he's doing his bit. But it's just when you just leave him to just play, and he's not under scrutiny, stuff he comes up with is outstanding. And then when he goes to play, it's to formula. It is what it is, and it's just a shame because he doesn't really do the long solo thing. The thing in Love Games is great. What he did in 2023, and he was doing that last year kind of as well, and they kind of changed the format for that. It's good. It's the way it should be. Jazz funk, innit? Yes. Exactly that. There's a few messages here. Arthur Dent, when we started playing bass, we had Soviet-made Ural bass. It even had a permanently soldered cable. How'd you get it in and out of the gig bag? I believe most of the show is really about how the musicians are into it and enjoying it. I agree. Completely agree, actually. Ollie, you'd like to see them play Autumn Paradise is Free live. It's not going to happen. I would imagine it's unlikely, but you never know. I keep wanting Return the Handsome Rugged Man. It ain't happened yet because it's two separate bass lines.
Right.
And unless they can find a way to do it. Although Stu Clayton can play it, that doesn't mean Mark can't. I'm not saying that. But it's
Nathan could jump
whether
in.
Mark can be bothered. He could.
Yep.
There's not a hell of a lot of guitar on that track, so exactly. Yeah, right. You've double bagged me there, mate. Lorenzo Panzariello. Ciao, are you in Britain? Yes, sir, we're in London. Or I am. It's coming out 10:15. We're live from London town, Lorenzo. Live chat 121 here on Brooks's Bass Corner. I've got my friends here, nattering bass. It's all good. Anyone wants to join in, you can. We can have up to 8 people here on the live chat. Email is running along the ticker at the top of the screen. Email me, brooks'sbasscorner@gmail.com. I get your email, I send you an invite, you click on the invite, you come live to screen. That's how it works. So if you've got any questions about basses, bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, great bass players, albums, level 42, Status basses, JD basses, Alembic basses, Fender, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we can talk till the cows come home. So
Indeed.
if you got any questions, fire away. Let's have them. Subradip Sinner. Hi, would you shout out my name? Just did it. There you go.
Done.
I aim to please. It's all good. It's all good. So, yes, there we are. There we are. Well, thank you for that, Matt. It's cool. Cool.
Okay, so
So
Lee
how
Tab,
did
where's
you,
the JD, man?
go.
Where's
Say
the,
again.
where's the JD, Lee? Come on.
That's probably right behind him, isn't it?
I would think so, right?
In the studio, I don't keep the JD in here because when I first put this together, I was having nightmares about it getting broken into and losing stuff. So when I got the JD, it stayed in the case, and it's the bass that stays in the house. To be fair, so my apologies. Next time I'm on, I'll bring it in.
There you go.
I do have my S4000.
There we go.
Which I've got a really cool story about this. So
Go for it.
When
Speak forth in ringing tones.
yeah.
Shimmering graphite tones.
So
That's
I
it.
bought off a supporting thrash metal player who I met at when I lived in Woking for 3 years.
You have my condolences.
I was in the ground, and just up the road, Stanley Road, and Church.
Oh, your sound's dropping. There we go.
I go, where is it? Right then, sat.
Lee, your audio's cutting in and out.
Oh shit.
Right.
Don't worry about YouTube clampdowns on. Yeah, we can now.
So yeah,
I'm gonna have a swear box on here soon.
Yeah. So there was a pub on this strip. I don't know if it's still there, the station. And there was this open mic night about a week after I moved to Woking. And what was the first thing that was there? It was this bloke playing this bass. Mm-hmm. And it was in a white colour, and I don't know what he'd done to paint it, or respray it or whatever, because it literally had paint drips down the side of it.
Hey.
Real awkward. And we got talking about it, and he went, "Well, I assume you're going to ask to buy it." And I was like, "Well, I wasn't, but how much do you want for it?" He went, "Oh, it's yours." And that was 2007. The following year, when the band put the first album stuff together, I recorded all but one of, well, it was only 8 tracks on it, but the first track we did was back in 4, which we then did for a radio broadcast. We re-recorded it, but that's another story. And yeah, I got this in this real bad condition, recorded the 2 EPs that we did, that contributed towards this album. And then I started teaching bass for a bit. By this point, because in 2001, I bought the King Bass 005 model, which I still
remember.
And in 2010, I bought another King Bass, brand new, from Dawn and Rob. And I don't know whether you've ever seen this on any status forums, but it had like this tiger veneer finish on the front of it.
Nice, yeah.
It was like an underlying quilt, but it wasn't a quilt. I remember because you had the lines of the timber going one way and that quilt running underneath.
That's it. And we still like,
yeah,
loose.
Lovely.
I think it's called Movingui.
Right.
Amazing. But so at that point, I sort of fund towards that bass. I ended up selling this in 2010 to somebody I was doing lessons with, and I told it a bunch, and it was in its It was even in a worse condition paint job wise. You know, it played fine and that. And I always regretted it because I was like, I recorded the first album's material with it. And it came to COVID. And I remember seeing one exactly the same model, exactly the same colour. And in fact, it must have been in a smoker's paradise because it was just tinted with this sort of brown haze to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was up for $1,000. And I thought, I wonder if Braves have got it. So I direct messaged him, pretended I was interested in something that his work was doing. And I happened to say to him, have you got a bass? I said, yeah. He went, well, I kind of thought that's why you were talking to me. And he sent me a photo of it, and it was in this, you can't really see it obviously in the light, but it was in this kind of like turquoisey blue green colour, which again in light. And cut long story short, he went, look, £500, it's yours.
Shriek.
That's the end of that then.
I'll have that. Yes.
I drove to the following day, and I bought it, and doing the latest recordings. Can you guys still hear me all right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
it's clearer now.
Sorry. On the latest recordings, I used my Princess KB to do all the synth parts, the chord parts, and the bass playing. And I was like, I have to pay sort of a bit of a homage to this. And in one of the tracks I've done, it's like a ballady track. There's a solo sort of slap bass part for it, and I use this bass to record that solo. So, Jamie, the next track I'll send you, it'll be that, and you'll have to find out what. And anybody else is interested, I'll send the tracks too.
Yeah.
Instrumentation. Yeah. The album's pretty much sort of done. It's not fully mixed. I've just got to do the vocals for it, but yeah, it's all quite exciting now because it's been a few years in the making. And then I want to sort of repackage and remaster the original album we did that I think about 9 people heard the first time around. So quite exciting to have. I was talking to Ollie, bless him. I sent him a couple of tracks and sent him one of the original ones. And one of my last YouTube videos, the solo that was played on this bass in a section of one of our original tracks. And in the last 2 weeks, I've generally had more responses about, and it's purely just doing that thing of like throwing enough shit at the walls and seeing what sticks. But I've had generally more response, and I think obviously there's been a huge influx and traction gain of social media and different enterprises and different ways that you can upload and share and everything. Without talking too much, which I think I've done already.
Sure.
No, you're fine.
A lot of good stuff to come out really, and I can't wait to sort of share it really.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you know where we are.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And some of us will be seeing you pretty soon. That's right.
Yes.
Yes. Albriano has just messaged. You remember last week, gents, Albriano was waiting for his new Elric bass.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
His new bass, Gold Series 5. It's wonderful. His type of bass, very different. Exotic wood, 100% made by Rob Elric. He has no apprentices, does it all himself. How's it going, Al? You're more than welcome to come on. You're going to give us a little demo if you wish. You don't have to, but if you wish to, email me, brooks'sbasscorner@gmail.com. I'll send you an invite. You can come to screen if you wish. There's one drawback. Bartolini pickups. Why is that a drawback, Al? Surely that's what you... Oh, no, this was a bass that was already made, wasn't it? That's right.
It was
it's not been made to your spec.
Bartolini's usually need a lot of the bottom end actually boosting, don't they? So.
Well, we think that's something to do with that court, don't we? We think there's something possibly in that preamp, maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
No, they are probably.
When I've had the experience of playing with Bartolini pickups in a I want to say a proper bass, but you know what I mean.
Ackland or something.
Well, even things like I've played Spectres with them in. I've played Fenders with them in, and
So have I.
if there's a 3-band EQ, there's nothing lacking. It's certainly not the pickups. So sometimes it can be the preamp and just the way it's tuned.
Yeah,
I think it's luck of the draw. But there is definitely, when I've played Bartolini's from the 80s and 90s and compare them to things that are more recent, there's a definite difference in them. And I know they do loads of different ranges and different tunings and what have you. But the old school ones from the 80s and 90s, which were Bartolini's version of competing with EMGs and Damasio's. In fact, I'd kind of say Bartolini would kind of sat between the EMG and the Damasio, which tended to be two sort of different ends of the spectrum. Right. The Bartolinis were kind of sat between, they were like the middle ground for those with quite a mid bias. And they were never lacking. But I think the more recent things maybe have been tuned a little, maybe. Maybe they've sort of pulled out some of those mids, I don't know.
It's a different company now, that's why.
Yeah, and talking of Lee's Series 4000, one of those sold in the Bass Chat Classifieds earlier this year for about 1,600. So there you go.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
Madness. But we are in the middle of throes of status prices.
Yeah.
They were high. They came back down and leveled out a bit at the start of the year. And now they seem to be going rampant. I saw someone quote on a Energy.
Yeah.
You know, that one that's been, the guy's been asking and the controls are in a line. Someone quoted something like about 1,800 quid. I'm not sure. I know, okay, it's got a graphite neck and it's bolt on, so you can take it off, put it on something else. I'm not sure 1,800. I think maybe 13, 14, maybe. I think once you get into Series 2, Series 2000, the Empathy King bass, that's when you're starting to go up through the 3, 4s, heading up towards 5. But I can't think of a status at the moment in terms of, well, maybe a Strata where you would just get $5,000 straight off the bat.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're dropping in and out again. You're doing a bit of a Norman Collier there, Lee. Yeah. Oh, we'll do Nick's one, shall we?
Oh, that's very nice.
Hello.
Oh, nice. Now he's got a real thing there.
Yeah.
Proper. Here we go.
Yeah, I was going to
What I
say.
can say is, don't tell Mike and I where, of course, you actually live. All right.
No, I've got enough.
Very dangerous.
I'm fine as I am.
I was very lucky to get that one.
Yeah.
When you search for status bases, try to search on the German marketplace.
All right.
Kleinanzeigen.
Yeah.
There are quite a few status bases.
Don't tell me this, please.
Too late. Too
And
late.
on there.
It will hurt my bank account.
Well, I was lucky with this one. This one was offered there, and the description said it's a status energy base.
Really? All right.
Okay, this is
Advertised wrongly, yeah.
This is part of the problem because there are so many status models within their ranges, and there's so much cross-pollination of features and body design and circuits and pickups, and sometimes hard to. I had a Series 2000 Matrix.
Okay.
And it was a custom order that some guy had done in 1994, and I wasn't sure if it was a Series 2 headed. But when I contacted Dawn and she went into the database, she said, "Oh no. This is a Series 2000 Matrix made in 1994. She said, "I don't know if we ever did another one."
Amazing.
Oh, well.
So there was a period in the 90s where you could go to status and
just
based on the ranges they had, you could, as long as they had the components, you could have it.
Yeah.
As long as you didn't ask for a 35-inch scale, you couldn't have it. It's always a 34.
This base was offered on the German marketplace, and the seller sold it as an energy bass, and I saw immediately this is an S2. So I did a very low offer, and I told him I can come over tomorrow and pay cash, because I thought it was a scam. And, well, he agreed with my offer, so I thought, this is going to be very tricky. And I took the car, drove to Hamburg, and he opened the coffer, the suitcase with the bass was in. And, whoa, it is an S2. Quit. Okay, thank you. You want to try it? No, I take it.
No, it's fine. It was like when I found a JD for 275 pounds.
Yeah,
amazing.
I went home and I posted a picture on Facebook, and within 10 minutes I got an offer from some Japanese guy who wanted to buy it from me for over 4,000 quid. But I don't want to sell it. I'm not.
No, don't.
I'm not a collector.
Sounds like the first wall bass I bought.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one. Wall bass is still high on my wish list.
I've had 6
Wait
of
till
them.
you've played.
Yes, wait till you played one.
They can be very idiosyncratic, like alembics can. So, and I've known many people who, for them, a wall was like the be all and end all, and then they got it and they were so disappointed and didn't stay with them very long. They just said, I can't play it. So it depends on the model, and there's always room within that you might find a real cracker, or you might find a real anchor. And I did say that right.
Yes, you did. I didn't hear a W on the beginning of that.
No, there wasn't. No. Gareth Harrison, thinking of swapping the pickup in his P bass. Do you have any recommendations? I'm thinking Seymour, Duncan, or Aguilar. I can talk highly about the 4P60 from Aguilar. Gaz, that's what I have in my John Deacon Precision. But all the different pickups out there sound totally different. And I've said this before. The problem you got with pickups and circuits is that you can't go into a store and start doing your marketing. Take that away. Talking to
That's
them.
a cute
Behave yourself. Is that you can't take a bass into a store and they will fit all the different pickups for you to find the one you want. So you have to go on either finding basses with the different pickup models and hearing them, or you're going to have to use YouTube. It's going to take a bit of scouting, Gaz. So, and even then, when you think you found the one, it can go into that bass and you suddenly go, ugh, I don't like it. So you've kind of got to do your own research on it, really. And only you and your ears are going to know what you want that bass to sound like. So happy shopping. It's research. It's, I talk about these things not flippantly, but I've done the due diligence. I was checking basses out in 87, 88, 89. I used to go to the bass centre almost weekly and hear all these different basses and different pickups. But here we are, it's 2025. What I heard in 1998, they don't make that anymore. So you buy a set of EMGs from 98 and compare them with a 2025, they ain't going to sound the same. So, but I can vouch that the Aguilar 4P60 sounds great. There's, just to give you an idea, Gaz, if you go, in fact, I'll do the work for you. I can't be more helpful. Just hold on a minute and I will get this video. And I've put it up here on the live chats before, but I'll do it again. Aguilar jazz bass pickup demo. So I wish every pickup manufacturer did this, right? So let's just get that, and I don't want it to play. Thanks very much. Right. Here is an American session player called Jonathan Moron, and they do a demo with a Lakeland jazz bass and 4 different Aguilar jazz bass pickups. And they wire them up and they compare them. So literally the guy plays the same passage over and over again, different styles and what have you. And you hear each pickup independently, and then you can compare and contrast. And the joy is you can keep going back through the video and find so eventually you'll find a set that works for you. I don't know if they did a similar one for the P pickups, but anyway, check it out, and you'll hear it. If you listen on headphones, you'll hear all the different nuances of those pickups. You've kind of got to do the same thing if you're going to change your P pickup. Other than nice to have access to the global market for a change. Absolutely. Yes. So far, our only choices have been cheap Chinese mass production or a prison sentence for smuggling. I hear you, sir. I hear you. Albriano, based on your profile, Fender Pro Am with Duncan Apollos and an Audaire Classic preamp, your baby. I get you. I saw your messages there, Al. Overall, you're very pleased. Excellent. See how you get on with the pickup and preamp combination. If it doesn't work, you can always change it. That's the joy of these things. There's plenty out there that you can change it to. Jerry Blair, good to see you. Hope you're well. Lorenzo said, bye. Our English is too hard for him to understand. He needs to study more. We do rattle along at a fair old rate. You know, you don't have to keep up. The way to do it, Lorenzo, is to watch the video on playback after it's uploaded and run it at a slower speed with subtitles on. You'll get it, I promise you. It's just we talk bass and we have crammed so much in such a short time that it does rattle along at a fair old rate. We are a bit like a steam train. Once we get going, it motors along. As did last week's live chat, because when I watched it back, I couldn't believe how quick we went through 3 hours last week.
Yeah.
With Lee on. Lee was on for 40 minutes. We had Lee Sklar on last week, Matt. He came on. I sent him an invite. He came on. Oh, someone sent me a message here. What's this?
That was me.
It's from you. Can you put these up? Do you want me to put these up?
Yeah.
On here?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's save the attachments. Hold on.
Saves me actually sort of moving things and actually getting it out.
I'm becoming a butler.
The actual current corner is a bit packed. As you can see, look.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we're saving them in there.
Now, if we could just retrieve the Pangborn from the pub.
The Pangborn
That's not going to happen, though, is it? Yeah.
I know. It's
old Pangborn
screwed into the wall above the bar.
Oh, no. You're kidding.
No, I'm dead serious.
In Holland.
It's in Holland. It's somewhere close up there because it's closer to you than it is to me.
Right.
So I don't know. I have to go back and look, but I remember seeing a photo of it, and it's played up across, kind of like what Matt has hanging up, but only it's literally screwed into the wall.
Yeah.
It's Richard's King Bass 2. You want to make him an offer, Matt? I'm sure he'll sell it to you.
The Hard Rock Cafe in, I believe, in Amsterdam.
That's it, I think.
Could be.
Very nice, Rich. I'm just getting to your pictures. 1, 2. Oh, there we go. That one.
There's another 2, I think, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did rather well there.
Not bad at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's one more, which is the cases shot.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. There you go.
Very nice.
There it is.
In all its glory.
In all its glory.
Super.
Thunderous glory.
Well, they are those single coils are rampant.
They are huge. Yeah.
It's a different thing, and so many of us have got statuses with humbuckers on.
Yeah.
But those single coils, certainly the more recent ones.
Yeah. They actually punch hugely, don't they?
I'm surprised he doesn't sell them as separate pickups that into stores. They just don't, Yeah.
Actually,
very good though.
Pickups. I've actually tomorrow evening got a Fender Nate Mandel P bass coming in. What do people think about the Seymour Duncan quarter pounder?
For many years, until Aguilar started doing pickups and what have, that was the pickup if you had a rock bass.
Yeah, right.
I used a lot of them. I used a lot of them back when.
Yeah.
And then it all changed.
Once Seymour Duncan started doing decent stacked bass pickups.
Yeah.
And they did a whole range of Ps. There was the quarter pounder, but there were a couple of others. So I think the quarter pounder is like, wow, full on in your face. They did a couple of others that were tuned a little sweeter, maybe.
Right.
So they're not quite as
overwhelmed.
So on the split coil, I think you kind of got a bit more of a mid-range rather than a lot of bottom end power.
You do.
So you might want to just Google it, and you'll probably find videos on YouTube. Again, you may well find someone's done a comparison video of all the Seymour Duncan opportunity, basically all their range. But for a long time, certainly before Aguilar produced pickups, that was the go-to. If you didn't want an EMG, you had a Seymour Duncan quarter pounder in a precision.
Excellent. Well, probably the only thing I'm sort of thinking, maybe changing it for is the Lola.
Okay.
So, they actually sound, great. So,
it's pickups. Like I say, it's a nightmare because all you want to do is take your bass to a store, pick out 4 pickups, and say, right, can just put those in that bass. I'll play it, and then I'll pick one. Nowhere ever does that. Nowhere offers you that facility.
Nope.
Why they can't just have connectors instead of having to have them soldered, like EMGs became, suddenly makes it a whole lot easier. Arthur Dent, you're joking regarding his earlier comment, but honestly, it's become way harder nowadays. It's the world we live in, unfortunately. Ollie, yes, Jamie, I've been saying that for years. Makes my skin crawl. The old Pangborn needs to be liberated. Whether it'll happen in our lifetime. Well, someone went in there and made the bar owner a good offer.
Right.
You might well do.
That's true. But
what you should do is take a cheap bass, say, this is one of Mark's offcuts, so I'll do you a swap. Little swapsy.
Yep.
You give me that, and I'll give you that. How about... But no, he probably ain't going to buy that. Somebody liberated it to the wall. Now it needs to be redone. Correct. Lee, guys, my sincere apologies. Your battery ran out. Come on.
That's why you disappeared.
On your phone. What? Yeah, it happens to Jamie all the time. Whilst he was on the stream. Thanks so much for having me on the stream. It's all right. See you next time. All the best to you all, viewers. Pleasure. We're here every Tuesday from 8 p.m. UK time. Albriano commenting on your bass, Rich, saying it's very sweet. Ollie, how about we liberate them to the wall and take the panel? Well, I think the gendarmerie might have a word to say there.
They might, yes.
I've just bought a fretless Warwick thumb. Good for you, sir. Bass custom shop 87. Whoa,
an early one.
That's
an
going
early
into. That's going into.
Handmade. That's handmade, right?
No. That's gone into investment territory. An 87 fretless Warwick. Now, Jerry, you aren't going to know because you bought this second hand, but just to forewarn you, and I'm not putting the fear of God into you, but you need to be aware of this. 80s Warwicks have a tendency for the aluminium truss rod to snap. Now, I don't know if that bass has had it. It may well have gone back to Warwick and been fitted with a more recent truss rod. But if you get any neck problems, get it to the gallery, probably, here in the UK. Let them deal with it, because if that truss rod snaps, those timbers are going crunch. So just be aware. It was a thing for quite a while that any Warwick made in the 80s, because of the way their truss rods... I can't get teeth in today. The way Warwick's truss rods were constructed and the materials they were made from meant they had a tendency to just give up. And you got all that Wengi.
Oh, yes.
What else did they use?
Wengi.
Things like
Wengi was most of them.
Padoot tops and all. You've got a right old timber sandwich going on there. So just keep checking your truss rod every couple of months. Give it a quarter turn, get it set. Just stay on top of it. Don't leave it for like a year or two, and don't address the truss rod, because if the temperature changes kick in, don't give it an excuse to go bust. All right, but it's easily done, easy to maintain. If you go on the Warwick site, they will tell you how to keep their basses set up. There's a whole section of it. Other than absolutely awesome content, thank you very much. You've subscribed, bless you. If you give I've done this for a while. People watching, please give the video a thumbs up. Please give the live chat a thumbs up. It's the most important thing you can do for me, the channel, and this video, all the videos. Thumbs up, critical. Doesn't cost you anything. You just got to press the button. Give the video a thumbs up. Thank you very much in advance. You subscribed, liked, now you're off to chill too. Thank you very much. Wishing you all the best. See you on another one. We're here every Tuesday. Check out the rest of the channel. You might find some bass content that you're after. Thank you. Thank you for joining in.
Good stuff.
All good. It's 11:15 here, London town. We're rattling through it tonight. Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Woo! No wonder the old voice is shot the day after. Right, who's this? Oh,
No singing for you.
No singing for me till Friday. And then it's
All
Queen tribute territory. Uncle Funk Saturday, Uncle Funk Sunday. I'm hoping that there might be a Saturday night gig coming for me, which would give me 4, because I finished my gig on Saturday at 6:20. I was hoping to go and see Marcus Miller, but I can't guarantee that I can get from Ipswich to Camden in time. And I'd have to leave 2 basses in the car, which I don't want to do in Camden. But yeah, it would be nice to go and see. Well, John Cooper was on last week and he's going, and I thought I might be able to sort of swing it, but I don't think I can. We've lost Richard. Don't worry, EK comes back. He sort of drops in and out. He's got to replenish the old Vimto. That's what he'll be doing.
That's right. You're losing me too.
Are we?
Yeah, I need to go tomorrow.
Well, thank you so much for joining in. It's been a pleasure. You're welcome anytime, Matt.
I will be back.
Look forward to it.
Bedankt.
Superb.
Bye-bye.
Good job, my man.
Bye.
Take care. See you soon. He won't have gone for a swim.
Vimto is funny, she says. Stacey.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Don't knock it.
Right.
It's very good.
We actually have it here. I just don't see it that often. So, yeah.
That'll be Billy Sheehan buying up all the stock.
Well, these things happen as well.
They do indeed.
Yeah.
So, it's coming up 10 to 11. Crikey.
How about that?
It races through. You start, and it starts off sort of slow, and then we get into a conversation. It just railroads.
That's because we're having a lot of fun with it. That's what it's about.
That's it. There you go. If you're watching, you're thinking, what the hell have I stumbled on here? This is Brooks's Bass Corner. We're talking bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, great bass players, albums with great bass playing on. If you're just taking up Bass Rock Fan, I can see you there. I'll come to you in a second.
Yes.
If you don't know what we're doing, if you've got any questions about bass, looking for some advice, some help, some pointers, if you're just starting bass, we can help you.
Rich jumped out of the fountain, I see.
I can get you out there gigging in 4 weeks. Don't worry about that. That's all possible. Right, Rock Fan. Good to see you. Been on my impromptu live chats. Thank you for checking in. Best new bass available in the USA for under $1,000. That works great right out of the box. I can tell you straight off the bat, mate.
Okay.
I can tell you straight off the bat.
Have a go.
Oh, no, I've got the extension here. That's all right. Give me 2 seconds. I'll give you a heads up anyway. Is it that one? It is that one,
Yes.
It is that one. It is. So for $1,000, actually under $1,000, it'll probably be about $750. If you like jazz basses, doesn't mean you have to. It's not a hard sell, but I can highly recommend one of these little beauties. So this is the Guy Pratt Betsy. It's made by the Bass Centre here in the UK. Actually built in Korea, but don't hold that against it. It's got a pair of EMGs. It's not an active circuit, but it is active pickups. They're fabulous. I've been using this as my backup with the Uncle Funk show, as well as other things. I use this as my main bass when I do Oasis tributes. It's thunderous. ebony fingerboard, basswood body, maple neck. Don't hold the basswood body against it. They were going to use alder. They were then offered the opportunity to have basswood instead of alder. When they did a comparison of two models side by side, there was literally nothing between them. So in fact, I'm not even going to guess at the price. I'm going to tell you. So just hold on a moment. I'll tell you what the US price is because it's on their website. Bear with me a moment.
Even better.
British Bassmasters Series. Here we go. Betsy Bass in America. Worldwide price is £620.83 because you've got no VAT. So 620.83. Let's do a little conversion. Hang on.
Plus, of course, import,
shipping,
duties, tariffs,
customs fees.
So anyway, the base price from the Bass Centre. So it's 0.74. Hold on, just to get the old calculator going. So what was that? That was 620.83. So 620.83 times 0.74. No, the other way.
1.074.
Yeah. That's not right. It's a while since I've done this.
I would reckon current exchange rates will be about $780 plus.
It's going to be, I think you're right.
Ballpark,
it's about $760.
Yeah.
So about $760. So that saves you a few bob. That leaves you another $250 to go and get some other bits and pieces. But burgundy mist finish, clean on the back. Battery sits under the control plate. It's not a big deal getting it off. It's fine. But just amazing. So there's something to think about. They also do it in black. If you don't want the burgundy mist, you can have it in black. It's a complete copy of Guy's 64 Jazz that he bought off John Entwistle. And it was just, as we approached COVID a couple of years before, just Guy said to Barry at the Bass Centre, I don't want to take Betsy out on tour. She's getting on a bit. So they offered to make him a copy, signature copy, and it's just formed part of the British Bassmasters series. So check it out. Patrick's got one. Use your Betsy on a lot of gigs. Great value. There you go.
There it is.
There we are. There are, if you want to see a demo, let me just call up the link. Hold on.
There's quite a few, I think, of those, aren't they? I think even Guy Pratt himself did one. Am I not?
Yeah,
but
right? you want the Brooksy Space Corner one.
Frankly. Oh, right.
There's no more in-depth review than that, frankly.
That's very true. Unless Entwistle did it himself, but we know that can't happen.
YouTube didn't exist.
Right.
Entwistle done. So unless he's done that from beyond the grave.
Right.
2 seconds. I'll give you a link here. We want that, and that's going in there. And you can check out a demo. And there's also a separate demo. So if you want to see the demo without all the review bump, there's a 5-minute demo as well. So fill your boots, my friend. Stacey, Guy Pratt, Betsy, yeah. Albiano, Korea, Japan, Indonesia, China. It doesn't matter where the instruments are made, correct? Anymore. It's made good, it's good, correct. Dingwall bass is made in China and they sell for $3,500. If you knew, Al, how many Americans come on my channel and slate Dingwalls because they're made in China, the comments I get, and I just said it back. It's like, it's got nothing to do with where it's made. Either it's good or it's bad. Where it's made is irrelevant.
That's all that matters, is if it's good or
nonsense.
Bad. Yep.
Yes, you can purchase from the Bass Centre website. Rock fan, if you're going to buy one, because obviously you're in the States, you can't try it first, leave a message when you're placing the order that you... If you're really interested, there's an affiliate link. Let me give you, if you go into, spare me a moment, this video, you'll find there's an affiliate link. In fact, this is the text. So if you go into the description box of this live chat, there's an affiliate link for the Bass Centre. And if you go to the first one, which is anything you buy from the Bass Centre website, you'll then have the cookie So if you purchase the bass, we get a small affiliate commission here. There's also a link there for the British Bass Masters. So you can take your pick, either of those links, but you're looking for this in the description box. Okay?
You know, I must be in real trouble.
Why?
Well, because suddenly my basses come from Brum. They don't come from anywhere else. They don't come from anywhere else.
Hell to buy anything from Birmingham. You've been there.
Oh.
Good Lord. Yes. Nothing good ever came out of Birmingham, he says, a big Duran Duran fan.
Black Sabbath.
I'm joking, of course. Yes, Al. So, yes, rock fan, you're looking for that link in the... so where I've just posted that. Go in the description box, you'll find those links. But if you buy one or you're going to go through buying one, please leave a message in your order to say that we've spoken, you've watched the demo, you've watched the review, and you've decided to buy one. Helps me. I get a nice phone call from Barry going, "You selling my basses again?" Like, yeah. And that is how he talks. Everything's a question, but do you know that? Yeah. You're writing all this down. Rock fan, you got any questions, just come onto the social media, or you can email me directly, brooks'sbasscorner@gmail.com. I'm quite happy to do a one-to-one video chat. If you want to hear the bass, if you want me to demo it for you, more than happy to do that. It's all good.
First class service on Brooksy's.
They're good basses.
Of course they are.
I picked one up at the London Bass Guitar Show in 2019. Barry had just released them literally about 2 months earlier. He said, "Would you do a review of this?" I said, "Yeah, sure, give us it." Plugged it in. And I've got jazz basses here, of course. And this thing is like none of my other jazz basses. And I was like, wow. Oh, and I did the review. I went back to the bass bat. I said, "You selling that?" He said, "Yeah, but we need it for the show." I said, "Good, I'm buying it." He said, "But you can't have it till the end of the show." I said, No, that's fine. I said, "I want that one. I don't want one from the warehouse. I want that one." So if you were at the London Bass Guitar Show in 2019 and you played a Betsy at the Bass Centre stand, it was this. That came home with me. It was this.
Nice.
Yeah. Because I could have another one out of the warehouse, might not be the same.
That's very true. Because no two are the same.
That's right.
I think we've definitely clarified that one over weeks and weeks of time.
Over many weeks.
We have, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Warwick, same tree.
Well, I mean, Fender's same tree, really. I mean, let's be realistic, you know. It's the same with everything. That's why if I bust out these 3 black Ricks, they're all made within a month of each other. Then none of them are the same.
You can get similarity within a ballpark.
Yes.
You can. But it's that whole Squire thing, having 10 of them lined up, and 2 will be great, 3 will be all right, and 5 of them won't be very good. Just the way it is.
Right.
But experience teaches you that. You know, as a kid, you'd think, "Oh, well, as long as they've got one, that's..." But you could play it and it would be rubbish. You go down the road. Well, in the 80s and 90s was if you went in a Denmark street, literally all the shops had the same stock of basses as they came out. They'd sell 2 precision lights to Sutakina. They do 2 precision lights to Hanks, 2 precision lights to... And you could go around all the stores and play the same basses. Mm-hmm. And some you go, "Oh, that one doesn't sound as good as the one across the road."
Right. Well,
but you have to spend the whole day in the road. Yeah.
See, that's it. I'm taking chances. I mean, I can go pick up an Attitude bass anywhere and it'll sound the same. I've done it. There are very few differences, but with my my Birmingham specials, I can't do that.
But they're not making Attitudes in volume. They're
not.
A much lower number. As with, well, all the Yamaha signature models are made to low numbers.
That's because they're more handmade than the other ones. That's
exactly it.
That's what it's all about.
And you've got all that processing of the wood and the whole vibration thing that they do with the timbers.
Oh, yes.
That aged thing.
Indeed.
Very diligent at Yamaha.
Well,
you appreciate all and the time you're taking. That's all right. If you're buying a bass, it's a serious investment. Get it right. Get as much info on these things as you can. I don't know where you are. I think you are in the US. I can't remember. You did tell me, because you've come on a few of my impromptu live chats. Can't remember where you're based, but you can't go and try one if you're outside the UK. So you need our reference as a point at Colorado. Cool. So I bought this in 2019 for a period from about October 2019 until we went into lockdown because of COVID. I literally used this bass for about 40 gigs. I took nothing else because I wanted to check if this was a keeper or not, and whether my ears deceived me at the bass show and it was just exuberance on the day. And after 40 gigs, it wasn't. And every band that I use this with went, hell's that? It's amazing. Sounds amazing. It's a combination of the EMGs and the ebony board that are doing it, and the rotor sound strings, of course. But it's a keeper. It's going nowhere, and it sounds unlike any other jazz bass I've got here. It's just a totally different tone. Totally recognizable as a jazz bass, but it doesn't sound anything like my Marcus Miller or the Lodestone with the Sim Super Quads. What else we got here? There's a couple others dotted around, but So ask away. Like I said, if you're serious about getting one, if you want to do a one-to-one video call, I'm more than happy to do that. Just email me. You got the email, it's running along the top of the screen, brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. He's a walking library. Someone's got to do it. Patrick, comment from my wife in the other room. Are you still bass nerding? Tell her back, Patrick. Yes. And it'll be some time.
Most definitely.
Of course you are, correct. Rafa, did you have to replace anything on the Betsy? Zilch. Nothing. The machine heads are fine. They're not branded. They do the job. The bridge is period correct. So it's a 64 jazz bass it's based on. These have got the string spacing kind of, I don't know, how do you describe it? So you don't have like the central, so basically they're notched across the whole of the saddle so you can move the strings. The only thing I was going to change was the pick guard. Sadly, a standard jazz pick guard doesn't fit this. And I asked Barry, can you get me a white perloid plate? And he still hadn't done it. I bought one and it didn't fit. The holes didn't line up. I'm still waiting 6 years later. I'll get on to him better. The only thing I had to do was I wanted strap locks on. But when I went to take the screws out, they were bigger than the shallow strap lock screws. So rather than cause myself no end of grief, I just used the rubber washers, the old Grolsch washers. Or you can buy a bag of them. They're just rubber washers. And they do the job.
And always do the Billy Sheehan stove bolts right into it. Strap never comes up.
I can't be arsed with all that. Look, I'm using so many different basses all the time. He used to do 6 gigs a day with that one bass. It had to be reliable for him. I just wonder how much grief he put his alembic through, because he didn't have it for long. And seeing how that man goes to a bass, you just wonder. But there we are. Did I get the bass model? Yeah, there are options on the site. So you can have a lined fretless fingerboard. You've got choice of 2 colors. You can upgrade it to a Babbage bridge if you want. You can upgrade it to a Badass Bass 2 if you want. That's all the upgrades are. There's nothing else, as far as I'm aware. I don't think anything else has changed. Or did I buy any extra options? No, I bought it as it was presented to me at the bass show for review. So how it appeared is how I bought it. The strings, I wore the strings out after about 20 gigs and changed them from a rotor sound. So it's all good. Ollie, just bought yourself a status strap for your JD. Why didn't you buy a JD strap? Fair question.
That's a fair cop.
Not even sure if that's legal. Well, I don't have a problem with cross-pollination. Very often I wear a Fender T-shirt and I've got an alembic bass on, so I don't have a problem with it. You keep doing what you're doing, Ollie. You're doing fine. Don't worry.
You're doing fine,
Rock
man.
fan, now you understand. Here we go.
Okay.
They're solid bases, and the Bass Centre are great to deal with. You have any problem? Well, I tell you what, go on the Bass Centre website and see their referrals, people's responses, their messages. Very good people to deal with. Nothing's too much trouble. Any problems, they'll deal with it. They've been in the business 41 years. They know what they're doing.
They're not Guitar Center. Let's emphasize that. They are not Guitar Center.
Not even.
That's why I'm putting that out there, because you know what I'm speaking about. So
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Patrick Sweet, you wanted to change the scratch plate as well. There's a guy online called the Pickguard guy. Okay, you send him your old one and he'll do you a new one in whatever you want with the holes lined up properly. I'm waiting for Barry to come good. They get the Pickguards made where the bases are made. He can do me a white purloined one. Ollie, JD straps are so unbelievably difficult to get. Unfortunately, JD don't make them anymore either. Why do they do these things? It's just merch. Just get a supplier.
Well, it's just decision. They ran a sample. They tried making some cool new straps, and they were snapped up so quick.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've got a special one, but it's made out of one piece of leather, and it was hand carved by a mate who put the logo.
It was worn by a god round his loin. Yeah. And then sprinkled with fairy dust.
That's right. And suddenly it floats in the air by itself.
Hell's bells.
Is that probably something to do with the coming of the Lord?
One never knows.
On that note, we'll swiftly gloss over that. And what's he got in that Vinto? I don't know.
Actually,
it is 6 minutes past 11.
It's actually Pepsi Max.
Ah.
Oh, we shifted gears for a moment.
Yeah.
He'll be hanging off the light fittings later.
He's going to be warming up the slap exercises.
Yeah.
The thumb is going to be cracking.
Exactly. Pink bassman music, even not guitar center. Ollie bought a T-shirt from them 15 days ago. Still hasn't arrived from the Bass Center.
JD. From JD, I bet you. Right, Ollie? I'm guessing. It'll be a minute, Andy. Just
if
has
you
to sort
bought
it
something
back.
from the Bass Center, it's usually there within 2 days. Maybe you should buy a Bass Center T-shirt, Ollie. Affiliate links in description box, my friend. Their caps are very good as well.
Providing that you wear one.
Well, you can't buy Status T-shirts anymore.
You can't buy Trace Elliott T-shirts anymore either, unless by the sandbaggers.
No, the Status stuff. They did a line for about from about 2005 up till about 2014. They had some really good T-shirts and hoodies and stuff. And then once it ran out, they never resourced it. It's a shame.
No. Yeah. Well, now you can buy Ashdown shirts instead.
Well, all of this stuff. I mean, I've got a Trace Elliott strap, and actually Neil Fairclough's got it. Neil Fairclough, if you're watching, send my strap back. He was going off to do the Glen Eagles golf thing with Elio Pace and Huey Lewis and Tico Torres from Bon Jovi when they have all the stars doing that. And he was here, and he said, I haven't got a bass strap. Can I borrow a strap? I said, here, have this Trace one. But send it back when you're finished. That was 2018. Neil Fairclough, pull your finger out. He knows. I remind him every time I speak to him. Right. James, you're not worried you'll get it eventually. Well, Ollie, if it hasn't turned up by the time September comes around, Jamie will pick it up for you when he pops into JD.
That's right.
It will show. Jerry, any more Uncle Funk gigs? Yes. Although there aren't too many public ones. So let me just get into the diary and I'll tell you. Right, this weekend we're at Venue 16 in Ipswich. It's an outdoor festival. We are on at 10 to 5. It's going to be blazing hot, 32 degrees. Oh. The old black lycra is going to just fall off after that gig. Then we are at Buzzstock in Leighton Buzzard on Sunday. We are on at 6:30 for an hour and a half. And then Cheltenham, the week after on the 19th, Cheltenham Sevens Festival. We're on from 8 o'clock till 9:30. Cool, lots of 90-minute sets here. Went to the good old 1 hour set. And then I don't think we got any public gigs until we got a theatre show, Decades of Dance, on the 29th of August in Hertford. But I'm not sure if that gig's going to get pulled or not. We might reschedule it for another date. And then we're in Herne Bay in Kent at Strode Park on the 30th of August. And what else we got?
And you'll be in Peterborough in September.
No, we ain't playing there. We are at South Mill Arts Centre, Bishop Stortford. Is that? No, you came to see us in Sawbridgeworth, didn't you, Christmas? We're doing South Mill Arts, Bishop Stortford, on the 13th of September. Then what's that? We're playing... Oh, no, you can't come to that. That's a private do. And then there'll be a couple of gigs in December. So that's your lot, Jerry. There's not a lot of public gigs, but there's a few there. If any of those grab you, then feel free. Rock fan, any plans to fly across the pond and play in the USA? No, I've never played in the US. Never had a gig in the US.
We'll have to sort that.
Yeah, I've never been in a band that's done that sort of thing. I've been very tempted to come across to do some filming for the channel. That could well still happen at some point. Whether it will be before July next year, I don't know. We'll have to see. Trying to get all these things organised and things lined up, and because the channel's quite small, we're not a big channel, trying to get people to commit to stuff and give us the time of day is quite tricky. Hopefully, if we get bigger, things might improve. Hello from Oman. Hello, internet people. Hello. We're talking bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, bass players, bass albums, all that sort of thing. I've got to like all these messages. Hold on. Very good.
Well, while you're doing that, Ollie, for you, just know that September is coming and we need to have curry.
We do.
Yes, we do. So we're going to plan for a big curry event of nothing but bass players. Because now Rich, I don't know, Mike knows this, but I usually have my curry is usually a nuclear assault weapon.
We'll be sitting on a separate table to him. He's going to need a very large nappy on and probably a lot of very
tuck it in.
Yeah, but my only thought there is
I would want to be sitting next to him on the plane back,
traveling your car afterwards, doesn't it?
Doesn't work that way.
No?
Say again, Rich. Say that again.
The only sort of slight flaw in your plan is that he's actually got to travel in your car afterwards.
Well, we haven't discussed that yet.
We're going to sing Johnny Cash, Ring of Fire.
He's been trying to sort his schedule out most of the week, and we're still trying to piece it all together because he's got a lot of places to go and a lot of people to see.
And Stacey says Vindaloo. Yes, Vindaloo is the one.
Right.
Vindaloo is the one.
Foul is the one.
Fall is good too.
Isn't the actual hottest. The hottest is actually Madras, usually.
It depends on who makes it and how they make it for you.
Absolutely, yes.
I have a couple of guys here who make a Vindaloo that would literally set you on fire.
Yeah. It comes with a yellow and black radiation sticker on the plate.
All that kind of thing,
No, Oman life. They don't have to be volcanic hot. Quite right. They've
got to have a lot of flavor.
Those of us with more of a cultured palate, other than people that want to blow it off with like a flamethrower. Foul curry is much, much hotter than Madras. See, we've got someone here from the homeland here. They're educating you, lads. Sorry.
Very good. Yeah.
I'll take that either way because there's something to it. It's got to have a lot of flavor, and then if it lights you up at the same time, that's the best. That's where it's at.
Right.
In my day, as a child, that was ready brick. When you were lit up, wasn't eating a bowel-busting curry. But there we go. No one needs projectile diarrhea. I've told him this.
That's what the mango lassi is for. In case you have those issues, yes.
He has a cup of tea with his curry. I mean, there's no educating the man.
Nope.
Rock fan, besides myself, favourite all-time jazz bass player? Well, I'm going to educate you here. All right. So,
all right.
Oh, don't sound so despondent, ye of little faith.
No, I'm actually thinking of sort of, there are just so many of them, aren't there?
There are the obvious people.
Yes.
And I love Marcus Miller's jazz tone, but I will throw you a curveball.
Go on.
So I've said before, and I'll say it again. I do honestly believe that possibly the finest use of a jazz bass in a rock band was recorded in 1997 over 3 dates actually. And some of you will go, who the hell's he talking about? I think Chris Childs' use of a jazz bass on the Thunder Live album, which was recorded in 1997 and released in 1998, is, to my mind, possibly the finest use of a jazz bass in a melodic rock album, performance, whatever. Now, I did ask him.
Interesting.
We talk occasionally, and he told me exactly what that bass is. Bear with me a minute. Hang on. He was sending me his Bergantino rig that he's bought. It was a Mexican jazz bass, not an American one. It was a Mexican, and he had it resprayed vintage white. So it was black, and he had it resprayed vintage white, and he's replaced the pickups with noiseless ones.
Okay.
There you go.
Which might explain why it sounded so good on the recording. If you don't know that album, I strongly suggest you go and check it out. Thunder have multiple live albums, but you want the Thunder Live, which has kind of got the British flag, Union Jack on it. It's a double album, but they did do a release which was a single album. You want the double. Okay. And the jazz bass, just whoever mixed it, it's probably Luke Morley, whoever mixed it, got it so right. That jazz bass is fat, and it's right up front in the mix. And when he's playing with a pick, you get the strokes. It's great.
Rich, have you got
two that spring to mind? Will Lee.
That's one.
Absolutely phenomenal player. Plays jazz as well,
Yep.
To dance keys anyway, doesn't he? And my other one is, did you ever see Richard Bonner playing Teen Town on a jazz?
No.
Absolutely. Yes. This world. He out Jacko basically. Absolutely phenomenal.
Okay. That's interesting. I've got a total different twist for both of you.
Yeah, go on.
You're not going to see this one coming.
Okay.
So, rock fan, if you're thinking in a rock setting, I'm going to step back for a moment, and I'm going to say Gary Thane, Uriah Heep, Demons and Wizards.
Oh.
That's a jazz bass. That is a jazz bass, but it's not the funky back pickup barky jazz bass. It's flats on a jazz bass through an acoustic 360 and 61.
Yeah.
And that punches through, even with flats, it punches through everything.
Actually, talking of Heap, Imogen Heap being backed by Jeff Beck, Vinny Coachura, and Tal Wilkenfeld in London at Ronnie Scott's. Absolutely phenomenal.
Tal's over here now doing some new stuff.
They keep
that. Tal is
over here. She's staying. She's staying over here doing some different stuff now. Go on. That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
I was going to say they keep showing that on Sky Arts. Jeff Beck at Ronnie Scott's. It's on quite regularly. Puck 27. What about Geddy Lee?
Rickenbacker.
Obvious choice.
Rickenbacker.
It's an obvious choice. But what's not to like? But the whole Chris Childs thing is a curveball because most people wouldn't even. It's not that Chris doesn't play jazzes. He does. Plays lots of different basses. But I didn't go on that tour, actually. But I remember buying the album, and I remember having seen them on some other gigs. And I did see them do a live, like a single launch, I think it was, at HMV, and they were great. And the album had just come out. And I didn't play that album. I bought it and then didn't play it. So I bought it in 98. I didn't play it until it was in my car in 2016.
How about that?
Stupid idiot. And I remember putting it on and going, oh, yeah, I should put this in the car and listen to it. And about 6 minutes in, I was like, this is seriously good. Seriously good. And hearing that bass mix in a car and thinking, they got it right. Whoever mixed this. And it's typical melodic rock. Two Les Pauls, big drum kit, great singer, great BVs, and a jazz bass just slaying it. Absolutely slaying it. And he hadn't been in the band long. He'd only been in the band, well, when it was recorded, 8 months, 9 months, maybe. And he it's a great performance. So, and a lot of people go, oh, I hadn't even thought of that. Well, go and have a listen. You may agree, you may disagree. Leave some comments after the event in the comments section of this video. Check it out on Spotify.
That's right.
Do you remember
It's a
when?
great album.
Do you remember when Fender brought out the Mexican road-worn jazz?
Yes.
2008, 2009.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was a
And
guy
everybody wants one.
from, I think he's Spanish, Fernando somebody, put up a...
That's ABBA. Tish. He's here all week, folks.
Brado or something.
Right.
He actually did a home video of him actually playing one, and it had such a fantastic sound. It was unreal.
Same old thing, isn't it? You could go in the store, play one, it might not be very good. You pick up another one, it suddenly plays great.
And then the rest.
It's all in there.
Fingers, that's right.
It's all in there.
Yeah.
We can do another 10 minutes, lads, and then we're rolling this up.
10:30 to your bedtime, yes.
I've got to go down to Mum tomorrow. Off to hospital, Mum, if you're watching. I'll be with you by 9:30, 10 o'clock.
There you go.
Yeah.
His name was Fernando Lamadrid. As in
It's easy for you to say.
Madrid.
Right, okay.
There you go. Absolutely cracking player.
Is he on YouTube, is he?
If you type his name into YouTube, there's probably the actual video there. Yeah.
I will check that out when I'm going back through this, doing the timestamps.
There you go.
I will do that. Well, I'm sad to report we're on lower views this week, but then we haven't been blessed with Lee Sklar.
We haven't,
So
very true.
at the current time, let's just have a little look here. We have, well, it's not to be sneezed at. We've accumulated 761 views tonight. However, last week we accumulated somewhere in the region of 3,200. It's quite a big difference. Quite a big difference, but I can live with that. It's also July and people are sitting outdoors, not
They're doing holiday.
watching YouTube. Well, there's that too.
Yep.
There's that too. It's all good. It's all good. So if anyone else got any more questions, anything you want to ask while we're here, otherwise you'll have to hold fire until next Tuesday, unless you can catch me on an impromptu live chat. I do them completely without notice. Rock fan, do you store all your bass guitars in a case? Nope. Or display them on walls and racks, but I don't keep all of them here. And I rotate. So, you know, if we were burgled, they probably wouldn't get the ones they wanted. So, in your opinion, does it make a difference? I think, yeah. If you've got basses in a case, Jamie will tell you we had this discussion about Fenders that came out and the necks wanted to be a tree again. I think trying to keep them in a relatively equal atmosphere, so without excessive heat, humidity, sunlight, all of that, is probably a good thing. Some people may swear by keeping a guitar in a case, but if you bought a nice bass and you've hoped it would appreciate and you've stuck it in the case for 40 years and you pull it out and the neck suddenly goes, how'd it go, Jamie?
Whoop.
You'll be very disappointed and unhappy. So I think for me, it's much better. The basses that I have here at the house, I tend to keep them in racks, have them on the wall. Everything I have gets used one way or another in different. Today I've had 7 basses out for recording purposes. So, you know, it's, I like to be able to I don't want to have to keep pulling racks and cases out of the way to get to another. I just want to go in the rack and pull it out and use it. And that's my take on it. If you've only got one bass and you want to keep it in this case, it's entirely up to you. But gig bags might be a better option so air can get to it. Just leave the zip partly undone. But Peter, I've never seen a definitive way of storing gear in terms of instruments. So, you know, it depends where you are in the world, what the temperature's like, what the humidity's like, what the air pressure's like. It changes throughout the year. You know,
I had one JD that I had shipped in from UK, and it came in its case, right? And I opened it up, and it was this the bass was fine, but there was this scent because the person had put it in the case, and they either left a case in the garage or under the bed.
All right.
Damn.
And it had a mildewy, and I could never get the smell out of the guitar.
Yeah.
For as long as I had it, and then when I sent it back, somebody asked for it, so I shipped it back across the pond. But I mean, that case that smell never left the instrument. I mean, I always tell I could pick it up and go, still here.
Yeah, I bought one that I think had been sort of passed from pillar to post, and it had gone through various owners. And I didn't notice it until a couple of days after I got it, and it reeked of BO. It didn't when I was buying it.
Yes.
And it certainly wasn't me, but suddenly it had developed this smell, and it was like, jeepers creepers, what had someone been doing with it? And it never left it, and I thankfully I shifted it on, but oh, dearie me. Patrick, favourite gig bag? Whoa, just bought a new mono Vertigo. I have to say, I do like the Gator. What's it called? There's one there. Gator.
The Vault.
No, hold on. It's a Gator.
Gatorade?
No, I don't know. There
have a swig.
There is a model name for it, but anyway, they're very good. About half the price of mono bags. The only mono I've got is to take an Alembic long point body bass to gigs rather than have to carry it in its coffin of a case. But and actually for most of my gigs sort of week to week I use Tortec bags. I found 2 that I really like, the better padded ones. I think they're about 60 quid each, and they've been tough as nails. They've done all the Uncle Funk stuff, all the Queen tributes, everything since we came out of lockdown, so I quite like them. So that works for me. You boys?
I've been really impressed by the current Fender ones.
Okay.
The angled ones.
They up their game a bit.
Get it out. It's stuck, actually. Stuck on a bass, surprisingly enough.
How about that?
Isn't that song from the Tarantinos, Reservoir Dogs? Stuck on the bass. Stuck on the bass. No, clearly not.
These ones.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Hold it up a bit, Rich.
Yeah.
Is it the one with the red lettering on?
It is, yeah. It's got the lettering in the corner. Look,
that's it. Yeah. They've upped their game on those.
Yeah, they're great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The acid test for any gig bag is the stitching regarding pockets, and also when the strap button on the lower side sits on the zip, and is that strap button going to break the zip? That's the big thing.
Or is it going to dig a hole?
Your mono Vertigos, Patrick, very good. They've been very popular for about 15, 20 years. They really have. Ollie, even after the respray, your JD still smells like cigarette. Get some simple green on that, but hard to get in the UK. But that
I'm going to bet.
Get rid of
I'm going to bet that's probably on the fingerboard because that's the only thing that didn't get resprayed.
It's where it soaks. In.
Ebony and
timber.
the ebony. Yep.
You wouldn't have it any other way. Okay, fair enough. Rock fan, that makes sense. Keep it simple, not in direct sunlight, not too much humidity. Keep heat and humidity constant. Tends to work.
That's the one.
Here in the UK, usually I have to adjust truss rods twice a year. So it'll be in spring as we come out of winter, and then as we go from autumn into winter again, quarter turn every time, and that's it for most of my bases. Some guy, gunny sack. Oh, Hoyt,
over your shoulder.
No, kind of works for headless, small body bases, but not for anything with a decent sized body. You try putting a jazz bass in a gun sack. That ain't gonna happen. That's not even gonna happen.
Try putting a JD in a gun sack. With a big wide body. No.
That's the fella. That's the fella. Right, gents. We are coming up the witching hour. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a blast. We've rattled through 3.5 hours of bass chat. Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? Good enough for Johnny Be Good. Quite right, Hoyt. You tell them. So on that note, thank you very much to these fine gents, everyone that's joined in tonight. Lee Tab, Bill, Matt, anyone I've missed out. It's been rampant tonight. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for the likes, the subscribes, shares. Fabulous. Superb. Can't do it without you. We're hurtling towards 850,000 views. And bearing in mind, we only just reached 800,000 2 weeks ago. That's not bad going in my book. So well done, gang. Thank you very much. There will be more shorts. I'm hoping once I get back here Thursday to finally get another piece of long form content up. It's been weeks. Every time I'm just sit down and start editing, something else crops up that I have to do. It's been a bit of a nightmare. We'll get there. It's all backed up. It's like long form video constipation. That's kind of what it's like, but we'll get there.
Long form needs a curry.
Dose of figs, and we'll clear that out. Zoom has music. Good to see you. I'm presuming you've been sitting there lurking, but because you're saying later. But I hope you haven't just jumped on and we're about to go. Where's 4? You're too late. We're off. You'll have to watch on catch up. Thank you, Stacey. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Ollie.
All of that. And very good. Right. Have a great week. If you've got gigs coming up, take care. Be careful on the roads. I've got 3 gigs. I'll keep you posted. There's going to be gig vlog for the whole weekend. I'll be filming that. And there will be some impromptu live chats. I might do one tomorrow, actually. But we'll see. They happen as they happen. So on that note, say good night, gents.
Good night,
cheers,
Mike.
all.
Thank you. Very good. I will
Rich.
catch you next week, hopefully. Very good. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week. Enjoy your bass playing. Be safe out there. I'll catch you next Tuesday. Take it easy.